Futures back to the downside right now. Well, about flat-ish to start things off here this morning after another pretty wild day yesterday on the back of some Microsoft pretend news that ended up being not true. So we come all the way back to essentially where the day started yesterday before going out a little bit lower into the pre-market. Here we are this morning, basically flat. More data to come. Remember, we get more inflation-related data coming up tomorrow morning. Michigan consumer sentiment, we get that PCE reading as well ahead of the Fed coming up next week. Tons of things moving around as far as individual names this morning. CRM, I guess the biggest one here, big move higher. We've given more than 50% of that back between what happened after the close yesterday and here this morning, although we are trying to get back above 243. Still really nice move here for CRM. Could have been overdone a little bit. And yeah, more bad sales data for Tesla. It's what, 3 days in a row? We started at one end of Europe and now we're at the other end of Europe, and it's still not good in the UK.
It's not good, Brendo. Yeah. No, it's not. It's another 10% drop year over year as that continent is still making Elon pay for some of the comments and the activities taking place earlier this year. Good morning, guys. A whole lot to talk about. Nvidia in focus. Jensen, Huang on Capitol Hill yesterday, basically, trying to make the case that the U.S. should be exporting some of its more advanced chips to China. We'll keep an eye out on that. Snowflake, Brenda, reporting almost 10% here negative to start the morning. Meta with several headlines. They're going to get a bit of a tie-up there with the European regulator with respect to the AI integration into WhatsApp, but they're also poaching another AI sort of designer from Apple, and Palantir with another tie-up with Nvidia. Good look here.
Yeah, I tried to watch that. I was mentioning before we came on here, I tried to watch that Rogan podcast with Jensen last night. There wasn't anything earth-shattering that came from it that I thought was too exciting anyways. It seems like, I don't know, like it seems every time Elon goes on Rogan's podcast, there's like some new, fancy way of phrasing something, or his perspective on something has changed, which is groundbreaking. But yeah, Jensen was kind of vanilla. He did actually mention Anduril a couple of times and was very, very positive on the defense side of things and the opportunities that are still ahead as far as AI specifically with defense. So they talked about Palmer Luckey a little bit, which was kind of funny. And he spoke very highly of him.
They've been under attack. I don't know if you've been noticing the news lately. There was a drone that crashed from Anduril, Brendo, and then of course, the skeptics took that opportunity to really harp on Palmer Luckey, active on X, really looking to defend that platform. And the argument here is, I know they're not a publicly traded company, but AI related nonetheless, that the Chinese have much better sort of these autonomous aircraft, and Anduril's behind, and Palmer Luckey trying to make the case otherwise.
Yeah, more to come for sure in that sense. We'll touch on Nvidia for sure. Intel as well, with a couple of headlines this morning. They're going to not sell their networking business, not moving on that. Amazon's trying to break up with USPS.
Can you believe it?
Finally. Yeah. I mean, we don't seem to have an issue with deliveries from Amazon on this side of the border, but if, I don't know, let us know, I guess, if it is a little bit slower sometimes, especially around the holidays, maybe because of USPS, Amazon might be ditching them as far as deliveries go. Good morning, guys.
Hey.
Yeah, morning, everybody. And
USP or UPS there?
Not at all. Apparently not good for, there was just a couple earnings that just came out there. Kroger was one. Yeah, Kroger came out. I mean, look, Care may not be the stock that everyone's super interested in, but they did just drop their earnings. And I guess drop was the right word. They raised their guidance, so I guess that's good. And they beat on EPS, 105 versus 103. Sales was a miss. So that would be potentially the reason that Kroger's down 5%. Hey, there it is. And we got the breaking news right in there. So I'll probably thank you, Adara, as usual. I don't have the key up, but we can do that. But yeah, I mean, the earnings names, I feel almost more excited for the potential like day two robotics than some of the earnings names that I thought would move around this morning. So like UiPath looks okay, but not crazy. AI didn't even move at all. CRM basically is flat. You have Snowflake that actually did make a move.
That's down, yeah.
Yeah, so Snowflake made a move to the downside, but I kind of expected a little more action on CRM, so that's disappointing. But let's not forget, like I already saw, well, you can see right behind me, RR and iRobot. A couple people have already put those ones on the list, and I think those can be watched today. Thankfully, hopefully we don't get any like Microsoft news shock this AM to derail. But we're right back to where we were 24 hours ago.
Yeah, I mean, that news came and gone. I mean, came and went. I mean, it's not doing anything right now to anything. I mean, here's Microsoft trading yesterday. At this time, we were all fine with everything. And then all of a sudden, this happened about 9 o'clock where we had the drip down. And you know what? I mean, it's still getting hit. Like, Microsoft's still down off that number, down to 479 as the Nasdaq battled back all day yesterday and is flat here today. So Microsoft up a little bit into the close. We had a nice drop. So, creating some possible fake sideways moves here early. SMR could be a play. We talked about some of the power yesterday and some power generation. Brendan just talked about Jensen there. He was mentioning that, the power space needs to get going in AI, and there's going to be a big drain on that soon. So you're going to see some more talk, hopefully, about new scale and these modular reactors and whatnot. So we'll see if SMR can get going. We had Intel momentum yesterday as well. See if that can continue forward. I mean, things are pretty flat. I mean, even though you're down almost 0.75%, I mean, just into yesterday, not much going on. I just wonder if this is like the Christmas Santa Claus rally is like the 5 days or so before Christmas and a couple days after Christmas there. I don't know. Maybe we're just waiting for that to come through. I mean, the Qs right here seem like they want to break higher, in my opinion. I mean, yesterday was sort of, you saw that grind there yesterday. We had that huge move down and then just grind all the way basically until the last 10 minutes where we fell down a little bit. And we all know that if you're watching the show, it's an imbalanced story sometimes there at the end of the day. And then, we had that little whoosh down. We all were worried about Nvidia and, the challenge that Google's making to some of those units there, the TPUs and the GPUs and all of that. And Meta had a nice little way down. But, yesterday we got a great, almost like a Goldilocks scenario where we had ADP lower. So, okay, weaker economy. And then the ISM manufacturing number came out, the lowest it's been since, I think it was 22 or 64, the read was on the ISM. So you got like a weaker, economy coming through. Then you get Fed that's going to cut in five trading days now. That's going to be guaranteed. Well, I mean, it's 90% cut. And that should lead the way to more cuts. And, you're replacing Fed Chair Powell, which should be somebody coming through that's going to be, pretty hopefully hawkish, and we'll see on the rates.
I think we know that they will be.
Yeah, and that. So I think it's a good environment. Earnings were good. Fed seems to be in charge right now, and President talking, I don't know, not too aggressively. Nothing about China here. The war in Russia, Ukraine, oil sitting pretty flat at $60.
Signs that could be coming to an end at least.
Right, and this is what I mean, like. Barring some crazy global political event, something out of the White House, I really think this market just kind of marches a little higher into year end and Santa Claus rally or not.
Like at this point, like we're not like.
Remember, earnings is like some companies had great earnings and then the companies got.
Well, that's sort of the thing. Like it's it's like I don't know what gives us a shock in either direction at this point, because of the certainty that we have. But we do have to remember we're going to get inflation data after the Fed.
Right.
So like I think that's a part of it too. I was just double checking the odds. John mentioned, oddly enough, has not budged. It's still only 89% at CME Group. And the only reason I say only 89% is because like we're up to 93% on Kalshi. And just anecdotally, I think I've said this before. It feels like the betting markets have been leading. Just a little bit more responsive, I suppose. So yeah, we're 93%. It's 5 days away. You're gonna be over 90% for sure. So I think maybe we are going to be waiting for some data that's going to come after the Fed has made the prescribed cut, and then maybe that'll give us an idea what's going to happen in the new year for sure. But yeah, like today with like there's really few names that are gapped really far away. So I think some of the stories like Intel's back on my mind. And again, going to the robotics plays, I think are going to be in play once again. Obviously, Tesla 450 that's looking pretty strong. So there's a lot that's still, worth looking at. Just everything seems to be trading exactly where we left you. There's very few gappers that we can find. I mean, there's some small cap ones out there. Zim's in the news this morning. They could be getting some deal interest. So that one could be at least worth watching. But it's actually, I thought that would be a little stronger. I'm like, ooh. Zim, we know them. There's no official deal. It was gapped up, and then like when I sat down, it was immediately starting to give a little bit back. So yeah, so there's a few things out there and a few stories to go over. But if you liked the stock yesterday and nothing has changed, and you like the levels, I think making sure that you pay attention to it again and don't don't just move away because it's a day 2 play.
Here is, yesterday we had the biggest mover, of course, was the IWM. They were up like 1.5, maybe even more than that yesterday, percentage points. And you are now moments away from another, this is a weekly chart. So this is the Russell, the Russell 2000, and, really appreciates rate cuts. And you can see here, you're starting to now break out again on the IWM. So what was just this is a weekly chart. So we are about, a month of down, a couple weeks up. Now we'll wait to see if we can take that out right here. The IWM has been a great trade. Like, we were hating on it as this was happening, of course, but that's not too long ago. Like, you're back in, those are the April lows, but came back in, obviously worried a little bit about tariff tantrum, and then boom, straight there to the upside and broke out. I'd be interesting to see what happens here at 252, it looks like 253, let's call it, or so, all-time high break there for the Russell. That should be really exciting, led by many of the names that we talk about. Carvana's in there. These are the lower cap, small to mid cap names that are into the IWM. So even on the daily chart, it's been an aggressive push, right? Anything, I think just indexes generally that are at the 200 period moving average that you can wrap your head around are probably buy opportunities. A little bit of a dip down there in August. But yeah, IWM yesterday leading the way. And then, everything else is just keeps going higher, right? Here's the diamonds, this is the Dow. So there it goes. It's very, very similar to that all-time high break as well. Let's just go over to, even if we just go to a weekly chart on all of these, you'll just see how strong. Like, the only thing is OIH, if we call up oil, obviously that's the one that's going to be depressed right there. But there's the Dow, right? There's gold. We don't even really need to put up gold. We talk about that all the time. That's breaking higher, right? We've been talking about silver for a minute. That's starting to break higher as well. We had this with Rahim Alani. Look at silver. Like wow. What a move there on the weekly chart.
But if you pull a daily on silver, we talk about those moving averages.
They've been hitting off of those?
50. Yeah, it just gave you another chance to buy the 50. It's not touching the line in the chart, but it's bouncing in front of it. Like, that's all you really ever ask for.
It's funny because a couple, like last week, 2 weeks ago, we were kind of like, oh my God, what are you going to do? We're like, don't check your phone, don't check your portfolios, this and that. And then all of a sudden, the market just has a way of correcting itself and straight back up to the upside. So it's led by good earnings, at the end of the day. And today we're not going to get huge earnings calls from anybody. Like, we have Snowflake down to the downside. I don't think this is necessarily shouting out anything. It's down 10%, fine. Their guide was not great. I think they beat on EPS, missed on sales. But the story didn't seem like it was a down 9% kind of a story. But we said this yesterday. I've been wrong before because I said it for AEO. AEO had a nice run into earnings and still outperformed and outpaced. But Snowflake did have about 4 or 5 straight up days there, ticked out near that all-time high again and falling back in. This name probably, they parse the data, they organize the storage and all this kind of stuff for your data. So Snowflake, there is a space for it, I guess, in the AI play. I just think back down here, I actually sold it at 200, so I missed the boat on this one on the way up, but it's coming back in and maybe has a percent in the portfolio. Palantir today is the #1 stock on my mind moving forward. But and you know what I want to buy more of? I was saying this yesterday, maybe Palo Alto. I just want to get some money into this run. I think financials will be a great trade moving forward in the next couple weeks. PanW is one of the names that's gotten hit that we say about that 200 period.
Oh, yeah.
So where is it? Let's go. I think it's going to be right here. Oh, we're just passing it now. So there it is. I said yesterday, once we break that 195, which must be that level, there, yeah, trying to get through 195 right now is Palo Alto, so we'll see if that can battle back. That might be worth it. No dividend, though, or anything.
No divvy. That CrowdStrike's back up a little bit after earnings. But I got a question. Sharif, AEO's at 24. What's going on? Why aren't we at 26 yet?
I've only got 25 days less, Neil. Maybe a little bit more. I don't know what to do. Because the thing is, we were looking at the chart.
Wait a second.
I don't know if you noticed, guys, but it gapped up last time. Had a couple of good days, then almost filled the entire gap, Neil. And I'm kind of worried that we fill that gap before we hit 26, because then your boy Joey Options is going to get off scot-free.
So here's the thing. Yesterday, I heard when this bet was told, and if you're tuning in now, Joey Options and Sharif have a bet on AEO 26. Apparently, it's end of the year. Now, I was ranting because I'm like, why would it? Because I didn't know this end of the year thing, and we weren't told of the end of the year part. So I was surprised that anybody would ever make a bet, an open-ended bet like that, because you couldn't lose unless the company went under. But it is end of the year, which
I got bad news for Sharif.
that really changes things. Like, that really changes things. Yesterday I was all over, like, Sharif can't lose the bet, but now that I know it's end of the year, that completely
So AEO needs to go like another 7-8%.
Does it have to touch or close?
Oh man, touch probably.
Touch, right?
I'm on the side of Joe. I'm on the side of Joey options now on this bet. I was with you. I didn't think there was a time frame on it, but I think for American Eagle here, and it's only because it's been a nice run up. I think it could float a little bit higher. There is a short float involved with this name, but see, this is what I was saying about its move into earnings. It was just so huge already. And now due for a little bit of a pullback, probably, but then it has to find a base and then get going. I actually think Sharif's, the best chance for this thing is for it to come back in a little bit, settle down, and then take off one more time. I think that's because there is going to be some kind of a correction. But the thing is that's on Sharif's side here is this ANF. Like if you looked at what Abercrombie did for a while there, it had like something like 100 straight up days or something. And I think I have to zoom way back into, and also had this happen to it. Remember we were calling ANF some sort of an AI play for a while, and it was just this is it right here. Like in 2023, ANF went from $17 or 20. This chart is taking its time. $22 to $195 there basically in a year and a half. Obviously, it settled itself down and came right back into some support recently, and then there was their earnings call as well. But retail's been super hot, and I think a big name that I missed, anyways, in my portfolio because I don't own any Home Depot was Home Depot. They did get crushed actually on earnings. I think it was down 4 or 5%, which is pretty good for them. And it's been a nice move down. But then again, look at this, fell right back into those tariff levels of 320, 330, now back up to 360. So I don't know, Home Depot looking pretty good for me as well here. And a missed trade, that's the 1 minute chart, but a missed trade on the daily, I think, for Home Depot. So I don't know. I don't know if I like the retail space moving too much forward. We should have Luis come through. If he's here, that'd be great. He'll be doing some of the mid to smaller cap names there, runners.
It'd be interesting to see what he thinks about the robotics names. I think those, like as a day two, they're not a ton of volume, but some of them are at some pretty good levels. But I did want to, there was a couple of questions about it, so we might as well get to this. Dollar General had earnings, but also in news, HIMS is expanding into Canada. So HIMS is making an acquisition and expanding into Canada. That's why they're going to be up 3.5%. And then Dollar General, which is also having, it's a solid morning, 6%. That's pretty good, right? So they had same-store sales increased at 2.5%, which was good. They raised their guidance from 580, 630 range to 630 to 650. That was versus estimates of 617. So raising the guidance, they also beat top and bottom lines pretty decently. So Dollar General in play. Not a ton of volume. This is not really a day trading kind of stock, but if you like Dollar General, then you have been rewarded. Look at this is like the most obvious 115, 116 here. 116 is obvious triple top. So it might have some trouble chewing through that pre-market on low volume, but one to watch for potential breakout here today. Dollar General on earnings. And speaking of the AEO bet, which all of a sudden went from Joey options can't lose to it's going to be really tough. Or Joey option can't win, so it's going to be tough for him to lose. Let's see what winning options plays could be out there.
Oh. 3-0, 3-0. All right, guys, let's take a look at some of the options activity from yesterday's session. At the top of the list, guys, we have Rivian at that $18 strike price with volume around 42,900 contracts. And that's going to be expiring this Friday. Open interest still sitting around 18,200, guys. Now, as for Boeing, there is some news coming out on that front. Strike price $215. Again, we're just going back to that December 19th expiration cycle. Open interest at that specific level sitting around 13,900 contracts, and you had 2,400 contracts traded on yesterday's session. Now, Salesforce reporting after the bell yesterday, guys. Strike price $270. Once again, going to that December 19th expiration cycle, open interest sitting around 17,900 and volume around 1,100 there. So relatively light on the volume front, but the open interest is still outstanding. So now as for Tesla continuing to climb higher yesterday, guys, strike price $450, once again, December 19th expiration cycle. With that robotic news, open interest sitting around 19,200 and volume around 11,200. Now, as for the delta and the gamma exposure, relatively light. And I think it's important to note that the at-the-money IV here on Tesla is relatively cool, sitting around 47.6%. And you can see that the bid and the ask isn't horrendous either, slightly wide, but the more liquid that this strike price and the expiration cycle becomes, you're gonna see that tighten up a little bit. But now as for our probability of profit, it's relatively close to our delta. We know that we can use our delta as a percentage metric in where the contract will expire, either in the money or out the money. So if you're just going to buy this call flat out, it expires in a couple of weeks, you only essentially have a 34% chance of being profitable on it. Now, if you look at the inverse of that, if you're writing these calls, you're going to be collecting a substantial amount of capital. But what I was looking at here on this expiration cycle and at that specific strike price is essentially a supply zone. So if you lifted a strike above, you're still going to be collecting a half decent amount of premium, and you're putting yourself essentially above a resistance zone. But Tesla is on the move, guys. Keep an eye out on that. Other than that, probability of profit still sitting around that 34% at the money IV for Tesla. Relatively cool, guys.
Yeah, that 450 could be a little. We'll see on Tesla. It could be a little bit of a trap because of all the interest, but certainly it's a level everyone's going to be watching for 40 support today. I think for sure. As I will try to fix my mic if it's having issues. If I seem at least a little bit distracted, Randy just dropped off some bacon. There's bacon with the breakfast today, which we haven't really grabbed yet. We're going to go in a minute, in a few minutes. But now I just have a plate full of bacon, which smells about as ridiculously good as you would expect. Here, so
yeah,
thank you, Randy, for that.
One.
And I did see Rivian. Wow, it smells so good. Trust me, everyone loves bacon. I did see Rivian the last 3 days. You guys can see them here. So you would have seen, obviously, Rivian was on Joe's note for the options plays, or at least open interest being big. It's been fading in front of 18, but holding 17 pretty cleanly all week. So you get 17 holds. Now, the only time it broke 17 was yesterday in the morning when kind of everything was falling, and it recovered to essentially bounce. I wish we'd seen this in the afternoon. Sometimes you're just not looking at the stock. 1703 it bounced off of. So this has to be on the radar for a potential 17 hold. Maybe this is the time that Rivian wants to break out above these high teens and do something special. So, look at 17 today. That could be in play for sure. And I'm going to have a strip of bacon. I can't.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just have it sitting there for too long. I was going to wait for Luis to come through before going to go grab. But 450 coming through on Tesla is an interesting level. We talked about that yesterday, and I think that Tesla is on its way higher here. So we'll wait out to see if Tesla can break through 450. Thanks, Joe, for that option rundown. Back over to the desk.
All right, a few other things to be aware of this morning, including a few data points that are going to be coming through here. At 7:30, we did get challenger job cuts. That was a November number, 71,000 coming through. The forecast was for 98,000, so a little bit better than expected, and opposite, if you remember what we saw yesterday with that ADP number. It was the ADP number that kind of kicked off the narrative about, hold on a second, things aren't as great as they might seem. So if I just, oh no, they take it away here. I was going to scroll back up and show that again. But negative versus a modestly positive print that was expected yesterday for that ADP number. So that kicked things off. We'll get initial jobless claims here coming up at 8:30 as well. That's always, or can be anyways, a market mover. 220, the expected number. Continuing claims, 1.96 million. The forecast for this one, factory orders then coming through. That's a September number at 10 o'clock this morning, so it shouldn't be a big deal. But I wanted to go back to Apple real quick. We kind of glanced at it at the beginning there. it got to a point, I think, yesterday where I didn't see anyone else talking about much other than this guy leaving Apple, going over to Meta. The first major design executive specifically to go from Apple over to Meta. My question's more along the lines of, is Apple bigger at this point than any single individual, specifically when it comes to the design aspect? And this guy, I was just reading a little bit about him before we came back over here this morning, but this guy was responsible for liquid glass. I don't know.
How do you feel about liquid glass, Brendo?
I turned it off.
You turned it off, eh? Yeah. I've left it on. I've kind of gotten used to it. It's not my favorite feature. I'm not really against it. But this guy's had his hand in everything that Apple's done in the past decade or so. We're talking the iPhone, the iMac, or sorry, the iPad, the Mac, the Apple Watch, Apple TV, Vision Pro, Brendo. He's had his hand in everything. It doesn't mean he's integral in absolutely everything, but he is. He's one of their major design talents. Zuckerberg, you know, he's taken a position here where he's going to poach talent. Whether or not it fits is to be decided afterwards.
Right.
And we saw him bring on Alexander Wang, and then what we saw after that was a slew of layoffs.
Right.
So it's just about, let's get in the talent, we'll figure out what we need, and we'll make decisions later.
This guy specifically at Apple anyways was 100% on the UI side, the software side of things, not necessarily the hardware side of things, which leads one to believe that Zuck, guys, is maybe thinking about a redo for some of his software or the UI side of some of their products.
Yeah, that seems possible. But to your point about being bigger than anybody, and even talking about design, I mean, plenty of people that would tell you that, you know, from a pushing boundaries and innovation standpoint, it's like, okay, well, hasn't been anything relatively special for a while, but has it mattered? That's the real question. So like everyone can say that, it just doesn't necessarily matter to people that have Apple. But the thing I'm watching for Apple today is really that it had relative weakness, right? Like yesterday, everything, more or less everything was able to catch a bid after we got that Microsoft story. Apple was sort of the opposite. Like, you know, it retraced the lows, it bounced a little bit, and then continued lower. So if that's what's happening and there is any kind of a real pullback, like ever since August, this has been very clean. It's been clean to the 50, but there's also a trend line in there, like whichever one you want to go with. I just think you're a little closer this week to actually testing the trend line than anything else. So it's bounced just on daily from August, connected right here to the triple bottom October, or it's more like a double bottom because those are bad wicks. Double bottom here. It bounced off it just recently, a couple of weeks ago, and you know, you get back into about 75, and you'd be seeing that trend line support here for Apple. So regardless of what you think about this story or not, maybe it gives a chance to bounce off the trend line again, which in an upward trend, that's what you want to do. So I don't know if we get to 75 today. That's the only problem. Like the trend line's there. Look, I don't know what makes Apple drop $8 today, but certainly whether it's tomorrow or Monday, I think you have a decent chance to be able to pick this one up off the trend line.
Yeah, it's not dropping $8 today, but you never know. I mean, this market is something, it's relatively flat right now. Yeah, look, I mean, I called up Apple, but my chart didn't change. All Apple does is just make the best products. So, I mean, I think that, losing talent and all that is important, but, the iPhone 17 was huge. They're going to come up with that flip phone. They're going to do some different things, and Apple just continues to work. It's that install base that's really the impressive thing out of all of this. I still have the liquid glass turned on. I think it's pretty cool. My kids like it. But this drip into 280, if you ever get an opportunity to do that, that was sort of the breakout spot that there's been a gap fill there. So we could fill that gap back into there. And I just think it's a buy again. I think this is a hold, don't trade, just sit on your Apple shares. I mean, it just keeps on, raising its expectations year over year, month over month. They do have the monster buyback that continues to be in place there as well. So I think Apple just works and keeps on working. I like the stock. I don't think there's anything to do with it. It's just like Nvidia right now. Like, do you want to buy more of it? Like, or do you want to let the dust settle? There's so much focus on a lot of this AI talk all the time that there's so much else happening in this world. Like Citigroup, Wells Fargo, some of these bank stocks continue to go higher. Robinhood is up 30% in a week. It bounced off that 102. It's at 133 today. Look at Citigroup here. why are we even worried about all these other trades? Like, there's the Apple break of 280. Here's a Citigroup break of 105 and just ripping now through. You've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, call it 10 days or so in a row, straight upside juice there for Citigroup, let alone some of those other banks. WFC looks very similar to that as well. So, look, I really like the Apple story. I think it continues to go higher. I don't even know what a comparable is for them. Just so much news going around Apple, especially when we get that China story, and I think that's still one to come out with. The only name that I was thinking about, we talked about, how dominant Google is, and Meta's trying to get into new products. Brendan talked about new Meta software, hardware, things like that. They're trying to get into the glasses game. We already know that they're there. We've seen some ads recently on TV about the Meta athletic glasses and things like that with Ray-Ban and Oakley, sorry. But coming in, what about Snapchat? I mean, this is a name that really can never get going. So I don't want to buy this name, but just something to look at. This 7's been pretty good, and we're trying to drip our way back into 7 right now. So Apple I really like the stock and trying to find something, and I don't want to buy it up here. So I was actually thinking about putting money to work now, and I might just buy the SPY. Just the SPYs. Here into year end, or XLF. I think financials work in this rate cut environment. I think Apple does as well too, right? I mean, the cheaper these rates get, the more people will feel better about their interest-bearing payments. And I think they'll just go out and buy more Apple products, whether or not they have cash or not. That's what seems. And if everyone gets that $2,000 check, man, I mean, that's going to go into Apple Watches. It's going to go into new phones, and I mean, why not? So, all right, we've got some numbers to discuss. Their initial jobless claims coming out. Not too eventful up there, you guys?
Yeah, a little better than expected. Typical for the week when we get ADP and then initial jobless claims and then typically non-farm payrolls. None of them are correlated ever. So here we go again. 191 versus 220 here on the initial number for last week. So a little better than expected. 1.939 million versus 1.964 million on the continuing claims side of things. 214,000 on the 4-week average there versus 225. So across the board, a little bit of a beat, guys.
Yeah, we were just saying, Neil and I were just saying, like you don't want to have a good number right now because the futures want bad numbers because they want reasons for the market to continue higher, and that is an interest rate talk, right? And so, but yeah, I was just looking at that number as well, and it was this jobless claim 216 revised from 216 to 218. We just dropped some of those in front of you there. Jobless claims 191 versus 219 estimates. So, less jobless claims out there should, you would think rally the market a little bit, but I think that number it's 10% difference, right? 219 down to 191, so a little bit, maybe 12 or 13% difference. There it is on the board. Not too worried about any sort of effect on the market here today.
Radar odds aren't going to move too much on that, I wouldn't think. And I don't think we'll have too many issues with in reaction in yields or anything based on that number. And as you can see, there was an infinitesimal bounce on the Qs initially, and then we just dropped 30, 40 pennies here just to stay inside of the morning range. So for now, no really big shock at all. But, I just saw someone in the chat said, so no rate cut? No, I'm willing to make you, look, I'll make you a bet, and this is not going to have moved yet. Kalshi's still at 92. This 89, at best, you might move a few points, 2 or 3 points today. If anything, it was supposed to be catching up to Kalshi in the 90% range, so maybe it'll just stay put, but nothing too crazy. And if we were to see this make a move, you'll see it in yields, and the futures will be reacting a heck of a lot more. So, moving around a point or two is not going to do too much to us yet. So, I think you're just all systems go. We haven't had any shocks yet this morning, and I guess we don't necessarily expect any.
There isn't any major stories bumping anything today. It's going to be a good day to trade. I mean, I think the volumes will be here, but I expect a little lighter today. Not really heading into too many earnings coming through today. We had a slow grind yesterday. The Nasdaq's been upside. I could see a little bit of a pullback happening over the next couple days, but I just mean a flat, and then we start to break out. I know I said earlier that I think we have a rally into the year end, but we're just at these levels here. I think we just kind of go a little sideways. Maybe we retest a 50-period moving average. I don't know. It's not even that far away. And then I think we could break higher into year end. I mean, a lot of that's going to happen too. We need to get some positive reactions here with IBIT and with Bitcoin as well. If money can flow back into Bitcoin, which it's been doing, I still think like 97, 98, we could see by, well, I was going to say week's end, but that would be tomorrow. But I think we could get up to that 97, 98,000 over the weekend or even tomorrow. And that should help spark a little bit of a rally in the broader markets as well. So yeah, I think Nasdaq's going to be fine. Intel might be on for a pullback here. Like, I'm just trying to think about what I want to buy if anything does pull back. SoFi continues to always be on my mind, and it's not on the sticky note today, but something that I think can work out. And then, you know what, SMR I think is a good trade today as well. I asked a lot of you guys over there on Twitter, and I actually haven't looked in about 20 minutes, but I did ask. This is kind of funny. Oh, here, this is one of our favorite games growing up. Here's Street Fighter. So this is Binance versus Peter Schiff. So this guy's firing Bitcoin, and Peter Schiff is blocking it with blocks of gold there over here, like, you know. So there is some push and pull here, and of course this is from Peter. So Peter's been on our show many times, and good for him now. Wow, 1.2 million followers. I think that was sub a million. Obviously with gold going up, this guy's been, oh, look at this guy, Trader2UE Shuin right there. Yeah, this is not me, so we will block.
I'm calling him Shun.
Yeah, we will block that dude as well right there. No, I just said drop some names. Like, what are we trying to trade here today? And we have KSOL says nothing right now. There's nothing going on. MCHP says Jeff. Datadog is a good one for Trade Forever. I think that's their shout out to Randy, apparently. Look at him, says Nick as well. Yeah, Esco, Neil, Hood, Baba, Hood, Boeing, says DJ. AMD, Spotify, Google, so good talks there. Nvidia, Amazon, Palantir. I like what you're pushing out here, Better Investor. I like these two names as well. Oh, here's another one. Hey, what's up, Castle Ishi over here? This just means that you and your you-know-what gets blocked as well. And yeah, just follow. It's at Trader TV, Sean. It's very simple. It's the name of our show followed by my name. And hopefully you'll be able to find that and put your input there on what you want to trade. But Boeing might be a good call. You know, Boeing was a name that has had a huge move off that nice CFO recommendation the other day. Not recommendation, but talk of more planes and profitability potentially in the following quarter. And that really, I thought I was dead in the water at this 200 buy. And it's not, I'm not buying it to sell it or anything, just buying it to hold it for a minute. We'll see if we can get back up to 240. I like that we've broken through the 200 period moving average Boeing. So good look there on the note. So I don't know. You know, Neil and I always talk about it, guys. Brendan and Sharif up there. Is there a name that you guys are maybe looking at for a longer term, kind of average into a name right now? Like, I know, Sharif, maybe you mentioned Meta recently on this move down. Is there anything else that's sort of lighting your lamp over there?
Specifically to Sharif also, on the other side, we talked about this one yesterday. I'm trimming some ASML. I looked at it today. Maybe you should have a look at that one too.
Holding long term. I like what's happened recently, Neil. We got a B of A upgrade yesterday as well as JPM. B of A's price target now is in the 1300s, I think high 1300s. JPM a bit more conservative, I believe 1175. It's one of those ones, Neil, where I kind of feel that maybe we still haven't seen the best part of it yet. It is one of those pieces of technology that the Chinese still are unable to reproduce, and it's not just from the laser side of things vis-a-vis the ultraviolet lithography. It's also Zeiss, the mirrors that come from Germany, Brendo. So it's a bit of a European tie-up there between the Dutch ultraviolet lithography machine maker and the German company that provides them with the mirrors. So I feel they have a bit of a defensible moat that may not be easy to penetrate by the Chinese.
And also along the theme of time as well. Like, what is your time frame? And in this sense, you know, if you believe in the story, if you believe in the narrative, it's going to be generations. It's not going to be just a next 10-year type of thing. So if that is the case and that is your mindset, then what does the price matter right now anyways, if you truly believe in that narrative? And I'll bring that back to this one as well, guys. Tesla, I think, if the actual story, and going back to that Jensen conversation I was mentioning earlier with Joe Rogan, if the actual, from yesterday, if the actual story here is the robots, and the AI, Jensen was very positive on the robots specifically. I mean, why wouldn't he be? I think there's 2 or 3 GPUs in each of them.
God, yeah.
So, that alone is going to be a huge business for him. But the bigger picture being it's a 20-year, 30-year type of narrative. And if that's the case, then who cares what the price is right now?
Brendo, there's so many use cases for these robotics. Just think about elderly care, right? A robot is not going to run out of patience, be rude, you know, to a person, you know, in the declining years of their life. There's just so many different areas where robotics just makes absolute sense.
Elon also made that comment going back to, I think it was last week, he was talking about the law enforcement side of it. And saying, you know, there could potentially be a time where jails are not required anymore because you just stick a robot to a criminal and they physically are not allowed or are not capable of committing crime.
Well, it just feels like sci-fi, but the fact of the matter is, I mean, if I asked you in 2020 about these LLMs and how easily we could get productivity and be more productive and the amount of work that we can get done in the same amount of time, you probably would have been a little skeptical, but that was only about, you know, a couple of years later. In November of 22 we got it. So I think we're advancing a lot quicker, and I think we've got the technology now, and as well as the willingness in the West, and the competition between East and West is really going to drive this, Brenda.
Yeah, so both. And Sean, to answer your question, I mean, both, I think, on a longer term narrative, generational type of narrative, what's happening today is not going to paint the story here for, I think, ASML or Tesla.
I'm logging in right now and buying some more Tesla. So I agree with Brendan. No, I mean, because I told you yesterday that I was underweighted on Tesla, like as far as all of the major I didn't actually do that, but I probably will do it because I am looking to buy something, and I do think that Tesla breaks 450. And I was actually searching, I don't know if you guys have seen, you know, it's going to take me a minute to find it, but there was videos of this of the Tesla robot running around yesterday. And I'm just like, geez, like the guy is that robot has great form. You know, I was like thinking, like, you know, this is the next thing. And you know what? You know, I was thinking about it too. Like robots, like my son was part of. It's called First Robotics, and it's like a big robotics competition. He traveled into Windsor a couple years ago when he was in high school, and they made these robots, and they were fighting and battling, and they played in the Ford Center there. I think that's what it's called, where the Lions play, and it was a big to-do there, and it was really fun for him, and he was like, wow, and I even watching him build these things, I was pretty impressed. And it was just a gangster one that, you know, picked up a ball or whatever and stacked boxes, and it was just part of the competition. But I was thinking like robots could be something else for training, as Brendan said there. You know, even the correctional facility, I never even thought about. I don't think that will work, but I think for sports training,
there's lots of great.
Like, what about throwing bullpen? Like honestly, like
so you know what they already. So this is crazy.
Like the pitching machines.
They already have. To your point, because I know what you're going to say. You're going to say the pitching machine. They already have in-house. You wonder why these guys are so good.
That running robot.
They have pitching machines that don't just simulate speed. You can take an actual pitcher, what is it? Fastball, curveball, slider, changeup, have the spin, have the movement of his pitches, and the release point. So you can all.
Oh, the release point. Yeah.
So what's
like how your Savage goes that way, you could.
So remember how I was saying when I got a chance to watch batting practice?
I can't find this robot.
And almost nobody takes on-field batting practice anymore if they're at home.
Okay.
Because they all have these more advanced pitching machines
right.
that they can use to train. Now, major league teams have them at home, and then when you're on the road, they don't get to use them. And it simulates exactly the pitcher that you're going to be facing, which is insane. But think about the applications of this. Look, how much money are people putting into youth sports? Well, like I know some people that are putting together those like big like complexes where you can, you know, train for baseball like year and all that stuff. It's a huge business, and now you're going to be able to have, hopefully in the future, like these kinds of things will be a cost where they can go into every single training facility. And then you start thinking basketball.
Oh, no, I know.
Football.
I'll tell you, my cousin opened up this big, huge baseball training facility, and he has 4 or 5 pitching machines. They're 30 grand each or something like that, and they throw like 7 different pitches.
It's crazy.
And it's just a pitching machine here. I found the video here. So the one on the left, I think, is a figure. It's a Chinese, I believe, built on the left. If we show, oh, Andre's over there. All right, so we will not be showing this because there's nobody at the desk right now.
I can use the phone.
We'll get this once Andre comes back. Hey, Andre, there you go. Now you can see Andre over there. This is the aforementioned, I've never called him this, but this is what Sharif calls assassino there. You could see by his look, he is very much an assassin. Like, he's one of those assassins that just looks like your everyday common man.
But that's what you're supposed to look.
And then he just, you know, there must be a problem with the software over there. So we'll get that all fixed very, very soon. And this is a fluid show. You know, there's no one out, there's no one in our ear or anything right now doing anything. We do have to get this fixed.
We can now do
it's
whatever
because,
we want.
No, but the thing is what we're trying to get set up is we do have Luis coming.
Yeah, Luis is Luis.
So he's going to be coming through. We say hi. Hi, Luis. I see you there waiting in the green room, my friend, looking sharp as usual. And of course, today, I might as well tell you this, Luis, right now, because today here in lovely, but not warm, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, we are at -6 degrees Celsius right now.
It's going to get, you know, with the wind chill, it's supposed to hit -17 today.
Yeah.
Colder
okay. I thought
colder
overnight,
as the day
maybe.
goes on.
Overnight, I think
No,
it's supposed to get a little frosty.
That conversation with my daughter. I know you don't like wearing your hat and gloves. I know you don't like wearing the snow pants. It's going to be freezing cold today. Just do it. Have it in your bag, whatever.
Yeah, my kids won't.
Kids are never cold, right?
I told you that story. We got to go buy winter boots again for my daughter now. She tried on hers, and those did not fit. So we haven't really had any major snowfalls yet, but we bought my son, I told you, size 14, and that's crazy.
Just reminded me.
And then she's got to go get boots. So I think tonight's another busy night. We have hockey and chess, but I think my wife's going to try right after school to go get some of those boots. 51 degrees in Cali, that's not great either, I think. This is, sounds like Canadian summer to me too. No, not Luis first. I just want to show this robot just quickly because I just want to get rid of it. So this is what I was talking about if you guys haven't seen it. This is the Tesla over here, and this is just another one that's being built. It's called the Figure. I don't know if it's what part out of China it is, but I'm just saying like just what it's able to do. You know, so to Brendan saying like, if an inmate's trying to run away, maybe we can catch it, things like that. But no, that's just an interesting thing about what we're trying to get out here in the world. I think there's so much about to change, and we are very aggressive with some of the robotic plays. We saw Rich Tech yesterday, and Tesla was part of the story yesterday as well,
for sure.
on why they made that huge move up. Okay, without any further ado, software problem solved, I believe. Is that correct, Andre? I think so. Yes. Oh, right. Then it's your guest of the day, and it's a very, very special one. A friend of ours for decades, I'm going to say most likely. It's Luis Barbado there in lovely Barcelona.
Lucky guy.
This segment not brought to you by Zoom today, definitely. There he is. Luis, good to see you, as always. First of all, most importantly, give us the temperature in Barcelona today, just so we can feel better.
It's getting colder.
Stop it.
To be here, I mean, it's like 10, 12 degrees, something like that. It's getting colder even here, but nothing compared to you. Actually, I want to say hi from the live Trader TV to my daughter, who is living in Ohio now in the States, and it's freezing cold. She's like, Dad, I'm trying to survive here. You know, I just want to go back to the summer.
I saw. I had a friend of mine in Chicago, and I saw it was way colder there yesterday than here.
Yeah, my daughter was in the snowstorm in Chicago actually that weekend. It was crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, lots to discuss here this morning. I see on your screen you have the same stock at the top of your list as I had at the top of mine today, and rightfully so because it's up enormously. Let's touch on this PLRZ.
Yeah, first of all, we have, I have to say that we have 3 tickers that we have already traded, and very likely we will not trade anymore. The first one is, as you say, the Israeli company PLRZ. It was a runner yesterday. It was a strange move because it was going up very sharp. Let's see it here on the previous chart. So we have this day moving up like 200%, something like that, from $3 to $6, and it kept ranging from the whole day here. Very strange move. It didn't fade, it didn't break up. Very, very strange, with huge volume but no movement at all. So they were waiting after market to push it through. Okay, and then the next day after market, when the volume, of course, is not there's not so many offers to fill, they push it from $7 to $20. So this was a very nasty move from 2 days ago. We took a small short here in the consolidation below VWAP, a very small short size token, but very long riding, a lot of sense. And the other one was CVO. It's another ticket that we have already traded. As you can see, it's another pump and dump. It was a pump, dump, and in the VWAP rejection again, we went short here, 18, 17 break, and all the way down to 15. And the third one, same pattern, same setup, is another pump and dump. We went short here against the VWAP, and again, it's going down. It's a very typical pattern. First day up, all the way down, and we have the second day runner, and we go short against this VWAP. These the three stocks that we have already traded, but there are more to come.
I want to maybe dig into that a little bit, because we've had some questions the past couple of times that you've been on, Luis, and I think that gives us a good opportunity to maybe address one of those, and that is, out of those three charts that you just showed us there, every single one of them not only worked, so congratulations, by the way, but also is still working. So walk us through how you actually go about that trade. When you put that short on initially on the first test of VWAP, how do you manage that position then if you're just sitting there for the rest of the day and it's just in your favor, working for you?
I'm not. I would like to improve in that. I have to admit, you cannot be perfect as traders, so you have to know your weakness and your strong points, and just to avoid the situation that your weak points are there in the market. If you see some type of movement or stock or volatility or whatever that your weakness is there in the market, just avoid these ones and try to focus in what you are better. I'm not very good at holding the trades. So we try to develop a system to algorithm trade. So we don't decide it. We go short, we put the stop, and if it's an all-day fade, the system, the robot, it will not feel. But for me, it's very difficult. But I always say, try to scale out if the stock is starting to work. Scale out exits like VWAP, below VWAP, and maybe a third or a fifth of the trade to hold for the close.
When it comes to that specifically, then I think it's important to, especially for new traders, to understand the concept of letting the actual market come to you instead of aggressively exiting, a position once it's in the money for you. So having some orders out in the market and letting price actually come to you.
Absolutely. You have a strategy, a trading plan that gives you the entry, and then the tactics, that it's how do you apply this strategy, how you perform this strategy. You have to be very disciplined with it. So don't chase the trade, don't feel FOMO, just wait the trade comes to you, and just wait the exit come to you as well. Of course, you have to be flexible sometimes during the trade, and sometimes there is news, there is some new reaction or level 2 tape reading that tells you, okay, it's not going to go to the profit taking, so get out here or not. So I'm flexible but disciplined. This is a very interesting discussion. Discipline, again, being flexible. It's two not opposite terms.
Why don't we jump back over to PLRZ? I see it just popping around here in front of me on another chart. There is a little bit of volume coming in behind this again, but we're back at that VWAP again. It looks like if you wanted to take multiple stabs at this, is that something that you typically do, or is it a one and done?
No, we do multiple entries. If it gives us another entry, like here in the VWAP or in the new backside, sometimes we leave because it's near to the open now, so the volatility can raise again. We wait for the open, and probably in lower highs, we try again with tight at the stop, of course.
When you look at this type of idea specifically, Luis, we see these huge moves on these low float stocks specifically happen very, very early in the morning. One benefit that you have geographically is the fact that that's tradable for you because it's the middle of the day and it's not super early. Do you change your mindset, or do you change your approach once we get to 9:30 then versus what happens early on in the pre-market?
Yeah, absolutely. In the pre-market, you have to check a lot the news and the dilution of the stock. So it's not only about price action. Of course, price action is always important, but when we are talking let's say in the US time schedule, we have a lot of traders, we have algorithms, we have funds, we have all the participants in the market. When we are talking about 3 or 4 hours before the market opens, like early pre-market, price action is not so important, let's say, because there is not so much volume already. So we are looking more about support and resistance, of course, but looking a lot the news and the dilution, the probability of dilution, if it's a chat pump or dump or not. So it's another approach, as you say.
Great insight as always. Give everyone your X handle, Luis, if they want to give you a follow.
Yeah, well, beside this ticker that we have already traded, we have KALA. This is the main ticker for today. KALA is a biotech with good news, but we are gonna short it if it goes to 180, I think it is, and there you go. If it goes to 180, 3 days ago, this is a very common pattern. It's called third red day long pullback. So we have a huge gap up, a huge movement one day, and you wait 2 days downside, and then we have the third red day long pullback. So we're expecting this long to work because a lot of traders and a lot of algorithms do this trade. Remember the third red day long pullback. So we want to check if it goes to 160, 170, we will short against this pre-market, highs of 2 days ago.
Luis, on X, you're at A Day Trading, correct?
A Day Trading, yes, exactly.
Fantastic. Great insight as always. Good to see you, Luis. Have a fantastic day.
Thank you very much, Brendan. Say hi to Sean and Neil. And by the way, that robot is definitely in a better shape than Sean.
He can hear you.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. That is definitely true. But, never more handsome than Luis. I mean, the most handsome guy in town there
Literally saw
is
someone in the chat that
Luis.
said, hide
But that's nice.
This
So
guy's
now,
on screen, hide your wives when Luis comes on screen.
the only problem is now we'll just never see Luis again. So unfortunately, thank you, Luis. It has been a nice time seeing you and knowing you. But unfortunately, we just have positive vibes on the show. So sorry, Luis, about that one. And all right, yeah. So PLRZ. Look, I wrote that on the list as well. I mean, it's starting to go nuts. We saw it yesterday. That stock really started to go. And yeah, PLRZ right there, breaking through 16, now starting to get back higher. Brendan mentioned the VWAP hold there. I mean, it pretty much held. It held the 50-period grade as well. But you can trade stock. I think Brendan had a good point there. It's like you can trade these names in the pre-market when they're doing volume like this because it's almost like it's open. You're going to be able to have some kind of liquidity, although it's going to be violent. You should be able to not have too much slippage here. So how I trade these things is just less size, right? Like try to lower your share size here, especially on the pre-market. But, depending on, that might not be the way you guys want to play it because there is enough liquidity, right? Like, and I just, to Luis's point, watch the short float. It's 13% short right now, 14% short, and really had that move overnight. So up to $19, $17 here. We'll see if that can break through. But PLRZ, off of a trial, better than expected trial data yesterday on some nasal spray. Polyrizin keeps going to the upside right there. Just a violent name, and if you're looking to do something here in the pre-market, like we said, there's not much ticking right here. This is going to be leading the way.
It's that and Paula. That's.
Oh yeah. And what is? I didn't see the story with that one. I was focusing on this.
Oh yeah. See, what's crazy is that PLRZ. It was actually 2 days ago that they got the big news, which is a little bit weird. But the Kala is also. It was 2 days ago. Was the actual play. I feel a little bit more concerned you could be back end with this trade, at least a little bit. You want to try to respect that. So they had an announcement, what was it? It was like a securities purchase agreement at the beginning of the week, and that's where you're going to get a bit of a bump to the upside. And this is like a secondary bounce. What's interesting, right off the dollar level. And this cannot be real. I don't think that's a real wick that held the $1. That's probably like dark pool action, but it certainly was trending back, like it was trying to bounce off the one. Maybe got to 115 here. It looks like that low, but it's got a distinct trend that it's trying to hold in the pre-market. But as I said, this one has more vibes that you could be looking at a possible back end if it doesn't hold $1.50 here. In which case, almost waiting for $1 support if it doesn't hold VWAP could be a thing. We got some upgrades and downgrades to get to. See if we get some catalysts that way with Joe.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. All right, let's take a look at some of the upgrades here. At the top of our list, we have 5 below, reporting yesterday after the bell. Price target raised to $195. We're sitting up approximately 2.36% in the pre-market session. You're getting the nod by Telsey Advisory Group. Now, as for Dollar Tree, guys, you're getting that price target raised to $125 by Wells Fargo. You're up just a little bit under 1% in the pre-market session. Now, as for 3M, guys, you're getting that nod. Once again, $190 is going to be that price target by Barclays. Now, as for Snowflake, down 8.5% in the pre-market, but price target being raised to $275 by Canaccord Genuity. Now, as for Salesforce, man, oh man, BMO Capital Markets lowering that price target from 280 to 275. You're positive 1.7% here in the pre-market. PayPal by JP Morgan, you're down 1 1/10 approximately, price target being lowered to $70. Now, as for Li Auto, guys, you're positive in the pre-market. HSBC Securities lowering that price target to $18.60. And Fiserv by JP Morgan, you're down slightly here in the pre-market, lowering that price target to $85, guys.
Yeah, Li Auto, they had a rough day yesterday. You might have heard Sharif say boo. I don't know if he did in the background, but not good for them. I think PayPal might be of more interest. Look, it hasn't been looking good for PayPal recently, and all systems seem to mean it's going to retest what has been, and I knock on wood because support's only support as long as it holds, right? But it seems like we're headed for another test of about 56 bucks here on PayPal. So a little bit of a bounce in the last week, and yesterday seems like it was the start of a fade, like another lower high got put in. So if you can't hold on to 58, 56 would be that spot. Again, it's just kind of like that Apple trend line. Downgrade's probably not enough to get you there today. The same way I don't think Apple's going to drop the $8 to get to the support on the trend line at 75, but if it does, then I like it there. I think the same thing for PayPal. It's had support at 56, and until it breaks trend, that's the spot to wait for any kind of activation. Rough for them. I mean, Block had a rough one. Was it yesterday or a couple of days ago as well? So PayPal taking it on the chin, catching a downgrade. I think you wait to 56.
Yeah, I was just getting the sticky note out here. I have SMR written on there. Meta right now is popping. So we'll have to find out what the news is here. Yes, go Meta. Go Meta. Yeah, we really are excited about... Joe, really, Joe getting excited over there, very, very much so.
It's over.
But there goes Meta right now, so good. This is, hold on.
30% cuts for Metaverse efforts. Well,
okay, well, that's good.
He's the light.
You know, just, yeah, kind of correcting some of the mistakes that he had made in the past, I guess, there with the Metaverse. But there it goes, spiking like crazy to the upside. It's all about costs with this company, right? Like, they put out a lot, and the market didn't like it in the build out there for the data centers and what they were investing as well into some of the back end software for the AI play and some of those chips and all of that investment there, OpenAI, Nvidia, GPUs, Google, all of that, and now they're trying to think about potentially cutting back on some of that Metaverse. But there it goes, right there to the upside as it continues. But the thing is that all these guys know what can rally the stock, you know, and so it's just little releases like this tend to create this kind of action. But wow, there goes Meta. It's absolutely on fire right now, and you can see what it's doing to the Nasdaq as well. Little bounce back there. It's only up, changed it about 0.5%, or sorry, half of 10%, half 0.05%. Nasdaq was red, and now it's flat.
And
so
the other thing to consider is,
there
remember,
it is.
Meta's
deep cuts. Yeah.
Meta's forward PE got down to 21 after their last report. Like we were talking about it when, like, just the actual PE getting to that low 30s and you get to the high 20s, and that was a good reason why money wants to come into it. So, you know, at a 21 forward, at this point, obviously the stock price can move a little bit here. That's going to be good value for them. Like you're just from a technical standpoint, 680 is a thing. The 50 and the 200 are pretty much at the same spot. Like we're at the 200 period moving average now. The 50's at 76. 680 was a big prior level. So I think there might be room to get into that for sure. As, yeah, the big story right now, yesterday it was Microsoft and it was bad news. Today it's going to be Meta and it is good news. Rallying in the market to barely green, but this is a very, very specific Meta story. So yeah, we got the rundown to get to as well. So a lot to cover, some earnings names, and now all of a sudden Meta going ham.
All right, just reading through that report a little bit deeper here. We'll get into it more. Let's have a look at the market here to kick things off, though.
68.63, guys. That's where we closed out yesterday on the ES December contract. But I want to bring your attention to a couple of things. First and foremost, the higher lows into that flat top being 68.75, an area that we've been rejecting for the last few days. So maybe we're poised to take it out today. If we do take out 68.75, we're looking at 6,900, the area where we rejected back in mid to early November. Brendo, if we start selling off, we're going to look to that same area we've been defending over the last week or so, 68.25 as support.
If you haven't done so yet, make sure you take a second, jump down to the description below. Top link in the description will get you to the sign-up page for the watch list. It's free, as everything you need to know on it before we come on at 8 o'clock. Then you come join us because, hey, last couple of days, there's been a lot to learn between 8 o'clock and the open at 9:30. Top of the list this morning, CRM. We'll touch on Meta here again coming up. If you missed that story again, or if you're just joining, 30% cuts, it looks like, to Metaverse spending. So that's obviously going to be positive for the stock. I was just counting up a whole bunch of analyst moves here. I mean, there's probably 6 or 7 or even 8. Mostly to the upside here for CRM, although we've given back most of this earnings move.
Yeah, you hope for a nice bump, Brendo, because they're still 29% down year to date, vastly underperforming the Nasdaq, which is up 21% year to date. Let's talk about how they did. It was a clean earnings beat on the top and bottom line, posting 3.25 of adjusted EPS versus the 286. So an easy beat on profitability. Their revenue came in at 10.26 billion. That was in line with expectations, and profitability in terms of net income a little less than 2.1 billion, but compare that to last year when they took home 1.53 billion. So another nice gain there. But it was helped, Brendo, by a $263 million gain from strategic investments. We'll get to those in a second. They also mentioned the cloud mix for Tableau was stronger than expected. The guide was also good. Q4 revenue, they're guiding 11.13 to 11.23 billion ahead of the 10.9 consensus, and which is implying also an 11 to 12% increase quarter over quarter, a good sequential line there. Now, with respect to their AI products, because we've been talking a lot about, of course, Agentforce, they say, look, Agentforce ARR, the annual recurring revenue surge, Brendo, 330% year over year. So the company's saying the rumors or the analysis that Agentforce is not being adopted at a corporate level is not accurate.
Yeah, it's definitely working for them, absolutely. But not a lot to look at, guys, as far as price action here this morning for CRM.
Yeah, you know, they haven't been treated very well in this AI race, and there's nothing about today that's going to change my mind even temporarily. It looked good in the aftermarket, but you do this, like, it's okay, well, you have good results and you're at the low, you can't even hold modest gains. Like, we're now only 1% up. Like, this, it's very, very disappointing. The good news is, from a technical standpoint, I feel like the move got to exactly where you knew you'd run into resistance at 260 and the 200. But if this doesn't close above the 50-period moving average today, I think that would be a warning sign or CRM. You know, the 3-day rule is always going to apply. Like, I wouldn't want to overreact to the fact that it's only up 1%. But when you've had this bottom hold so long, you would think this could be a little bit better. So don't think I was even really considering trading CRM today. Certainly, I'd say a disappointment in terms of price action, not necessarily the report itself. But, you know, ball doesn't lie, right? Like, and this is the thing. Like, money's got to go into play, got to go somewhere, and right now you're seeing it going to Meta. You've had much better rallies in a lot of other tech names. CRM been languishing. This is probably the worst big cap tech stock this year.
There goes Meta still, man, 676 and just cruising right here as the headline, of course, comes as Zuckerberg now, finally. I mean, the market has been telling him this for years and years and years. Oh, it's already on the board. Okay, so there it is right there. Meta Zuckerberg reported plans 30% cuts for the metaverse and their efforts. So there it goes, right? The market's been telling Zuckerberg for years now that the metaverse is not the thing. That was part of what created really this huge epic collapse in Meta stock. You might not be able to see it. I don't know how long it's going to take to load this up, but it, you know, we were up here and it's fallen back anyways. We'll have to wait on that. It's gonna, because we had a symbol change also, and our software is not gonna show that. But Meta, just a roller coaster derby, right? And whenever you're starting to now cut costs, that was the reason for this downside push there. Not necessarily an investment into the metaverse, but if they're gonna cut back 30%, cut those costs away from there, the market does appreciate that, right? You get a little thinner, you get a little more efficient. They like that call there for Meta, as it's just been a rocket ship. Like, that 200 period has been awesome. You know, that anything that breaks it, there has to be reasons. You know, when there's these huge companies, and there's the tariff one, and there's this last earnings, and it's almost got all the way back. We talked about Home Depot breaking its earnings call lows and bounced right back up, now over where it was. And so Meta still needs to get back to 750. Like, there's still a long way to go before we get back to where it was pre-earnings, but definitely a great start here. And I mean, to move a name that's in the $1 trillion club, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10% is an absolute monster. So again, we brought this to you, man, when it was 665. You know, when this is starting to go up and it was dipping around. So right there, man, $15 straight to the upside that you could have caught. So good job there, anybody that did do that. But bang goes Meta. And I talked about it, man. I'm pretty properly weighted for this stock. So this is going to be a nice move back there to the upside. Like, I was in this stock almost too much that I did not want to buy any dips, and that would have been a great opportunity to do that right down there at 6 builds. So yeah, congratulations all. I know that you know, most of us own this stock, so it's a nice little move to the high side right here for Meta. And let's just go see what the story is here with Tesla, as I did put an order to buy some Tesla. Let's see if it gets filled off open.
So many people, you know, were talking about that, had opinions about that a few years ago when he came out with the amount he was going to spend on the metaverse, saying it was just outrageous at the time. So here we are.
Oh, yeah.
Scaling that back a little bit. Yeah, Tesla, a great day yesterday, great couple of days. In fact, if you zoom out a little bit here, back to 450, but yeah, more negative data here, more negative sales data on the automotive side. Who cares after that robot video that we just saw of Optimus running around?
Looks fantastic, Breno. I just saw another version of that Sean showed on X moments ago. Look, this is nothing new. We already know Tesla is doing poorly in Europe. It is more of the same story. The only difference today, it's a larger number. So what happened, Breno? Tesla's UK registrations fell 19% year over year in the month of November, dropping to about 3,784 units, so a little bit less than 3,800. This follows, obviously, an even steeper decline for sales in England in October, with registrations were cut in half. The slump comes basically as all new U-car registrations fell 6.3%, but you're comparing 6.3% to 19, so Tesla very much underperforming the market by a wide margin, Brendo, and it is really the story of the Chinese here, specifically BYD. They have more than tripled their deliveries and sales in England year over year, and that's obviously causing some pressure for the American automaker.
A bit of an uptick right now, guys, actually, for Tesla trying to get back toward that 450.
Yeah, so like it's the kind of story, like you guys said, that we already know auto sales have not been fantastic for them, and that hasn't been the story for the run up. So I don't know how much that's going to weigh in it today. If there's an issue today, it'll just simply be because it's 450, right? Like it could just be that you get a bit of a wall at that price, and you could do a bit of a pullback. So instead of, hey, auto long 450 breakout kind of deal, like we've seen what happens. There's been a lot of false breaks. Like Tesla yesterday, when it broke out, the highs obviously worked, but the prior couple of days breaking resistance at the open, actually 3 days in a row, like breaking resistance at the open was an abject fail. I do think you have a better chance of, at least if it fails to break, catching a dip buy and then rally. So I'm kind of looking at 440 for that if we lose a 450 break early. And if we close above 450 on the 15-minute, then join trend and all that stuff. But I'm thinking more fail breakout and then look for the dip into 440 for continuation here on Tesla in particular. And a lot of heads are going to be looking over at Meta, while, hey, Nvidia actually just got a bounce and bit of a breakout as well on its own. So rallying without a specific story, markets booming on the Meta news, and we just had Nvidia start to break out a little bit here. So far, so good, looking good for the long. I still think Tesla might false break that 450 though early.
Yeah, so I was just saying, I was thinking, you talked about Nvidia. I was like, am I in the wrong stock? But yeah, 450. I put it out. Look, it's on the sticky note here today, and I don't mind taking this trade. It's going to be Palantir is going to be the #1 stock for me here, but I do like this Tesla trade. I wrote down 450 break long or dips into this 443, 444 area. So let's just see what winds up happening. I think we'll take it small on a 450 break. The breakouts haven't been great in the morning for me anyways. Like sometimes I get a little too excited, but this is pretty close to the level. And I just think that Tesla does have the opportunity to take out some of those levels. And we just saw yesterday, just on that robotic news, right, just how excited this stock got. Just there, even in the middle of the day, for some reason, it bumped up there. But even based on, I just want to move my cup here to see what this time is like, 9:10. So even yesterday, right off the open, we just started to go. And if you waited for that pre-market high break right there, you see what I'm saying? Like there's a little bit of sort of comes in, tries, breaks it, goes up like a buck or so, then falls back into VWAP and then goes. So that's kind of the play that I'm thinking about today. So, you know, what happened yesterday could easily happen again today. It's the same story. I think there's robotics tend to go higher here on that news. And then the cars, right? I mean, we know it's weak sales. I mean, every time I see like, oh, Norway, weaker sales, BYD outpacing them, who cares? I don't like, that story's already out there. If the market cared about it, Tesla wouldn't be up again today. And it wouldn't be like, this is the thing. It's just like that Meta story. Right? We can all sit here and talk and blah, 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 blah. But then when Zuckerberg announces, oh, yeah, we'll just cut that back, boom, goes the stock to the upside, right? So I think the same kind of talk, like if Tesla goes, we're going to stop focusing on cars now, boom, this stock probably rallies, right? So why do we even really care about a lot of this? We already know what they're doing. I like Tesla breaking through 450 and just for a day trade. But for a long-term spot, I know I'm underweight on this name, and I'm trying to buy some even right now. So we'll see what winds up happening here off open. I would like to get a little bit of a dip before we, buy some of this. But I like what Brendan said there. If you like the story, you're going to look back in 5 years or even 1 year, or even 6 months and be like, well, what was the difference between 450, 460, and 440? I'm not putting that much money in anyways. It's if you put in 10 grand into the stock right now and you miss it by 10 bucks, it's not going to be the end of the world if the stock works for you. So I think if you like the story, you got to get into Tesla now. And PEs be damned, man. It's 200 and 300 on the forward and current PEs. So Tesla right now is definitely a play for the future. And I think the future is bright for this company. So let's go Tesla here, and we'll just see where it goes. I mean, I don't, as far as an EV play, whatever, I like it for the robotics and for autonomy and for full self-drive and
storage,
for all of that, and for taxis and just everything that Elon's working on, pay package or not, like whatever, pay the man his trillions. Like, let's get this stock going. Let's get back up to the upside there. I really think it's a bullish month, and I think it can be led honestly by Tesla. So I want to get longer.
Completely agree. Yeah, I mean, Tesla's not anything without Elon. So, I mean, what are we even talking about? Apple kind of chilling here this morning, not really doing much, 283.50, I should say. Holding as support right now. We touched on this early on. If you joined us in the first hour, we lost we didn't lose him, but the head design, or one of the head design executives jumping ship, going to Meta for, I assume, more money and not much else at this point. But this was the guys we were saying early on that was responsible for many, many design characteristics or design products on the UI side for Apple, not necessarily the hardware side, but specifically software.
He is, Brendo. His big name, Alan Dye, is the individual. We don't have exactly how much money he's getting at Meta. Sometimes we get the leaks, sometimes we don't. Long time head of user interface design is leaving the company, as to join, of course, Zuck and Meta. So CEO Tim Cook announced Stephen LeMay as a veteran designer from '99. He's going to be his successor. Dye, though, Alan Dye, was central to the development of UI across the iPhone, the iPad, Mac, Apple Watch, Apple TV, Vision Pro, take your pick. He was involved in most of these Apple products that we know and love. Zuckerberg did announce Dye will lead a new creative studio. They're going to blend design, fashion, and technology, part of Meta's push to elevate design. That's what it's going to be called internally, as the company tries to shift strategically from a revenue-generating company from advertisement into a device company as well. And Dye, Brendo, stepped into the leadership role in 2015 with Apple when Johnny Ive reduced his day-to-day involvement, and under Dye, Apple unveiled the liquid glass UI design that you know and love very, very much. Meta's increasingly positioned itself, as I mentioned, away from social media into the device.
I just don't see the point. I honestly, I don't see the point.
They got to do something new, bro.
I don't know, man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row before yesterday. So a little bit of context key, I think, here, guys. Yes, yesterday was pretty much straight down all day long, but it's been a pretty good run.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, even if it's in a pullback, I was kind of looking for because I drew the trend line earlier and was like, well, look at the upward trend that it's on, right? Like draw any trend line that you want or use the 50 period, and I think you buy into that. And I came up with 75, but that's pretty unlikely today. I mean, the market's strong. There isn't any reason why I can think of that Apple will drop that far. So I just kind of gave myself a few, because 75, the chance of getting there is pretty slim. But I can look back at in here at about 80, 280, and then 282. It was maybe play off of one of those. Because I think when you dip, if this was a turn, Apple was relatively weak yesterday. When everything was able to catch a bit of a bid, it ended up trending down. So if we get that, yeah, like 280, 282, those are a couple of spots outside of the trend line is obviously where I prefer to get it, but that could be more of like a swing thing or just wait for it and you'll like it a lot more. But for today, go like 80 or 82. Can't see any reason we'd crumble between either of those levels. I
mean, I don't have Apple written down today for anything. I didn't see like a major catalyst here, but we did have, they had lost the liquid glass. I mean, this is the whole story of what we're talking about right now, so I'm not going to recap it too much. But I don't like, I'm trying to be bullish, in my thinking. So I'm not like looking at this name really today. It just drifted down yesterday. We made all-time, like, what a great move early yesterday. All-time highs, breaking almost into 290, like unbelievable run for Apple. And I feel the same way about like when I bought some here on this breakout. I've got some 212s on this break right there. And it's just been like a forever hold. And I think that's what we have to do with Apple. Just keep on watching for dips and trying to buy some of these to come into the portfolio. I mean, it's a great stock. I love the install base. And it's going to have peaks and valleys, right? And I think that little stories like this are maybe opportunities just to get long. So I'm going to let it settle down now. The Nasdaq's up 0.2, Apple's down 0.13. I just don't see too much action in this name here today unless you're going to try to go short. And I'm not really feeling the short. And if you are, then what about right here? I mean, this is starting to slope downside. This is your 200 period moving average. It's been weeks probably since it's turned over. So right now it's trying to get a little lower. So, and it's kind of matching with yesterday's kind of breakdown of 285.50. So for me, maybe I'll write this down as a short, but right into this level. And it doesn't even look good over here. Like, look how choppy that level is. Normally, I'd look for like something right into here, but then look how choppy that is right here. So I think the 285, the 285.50, you can kind of build a short into this. And then if we maybe break above 286, and that's where you want to get out. But I'm going to be trying to go bullish today. And honestly, with Palantir, I mean, some of the stories are right there on the screen. We're going to get to Meta right now. But, Palantir and Meta and even CRM's downside. But I think Tesla can help rally this market. And look what the Nasdaq did on that Meta news. I just don't really want to be short a name like Apple today. I think it can turn around at any moment. So watch out for 286. I think that's your sort of pull to shoot on the short level. For Apple, for me, it's kind of a stay away for now. But hey.
You never know.
Times change, and that's where I've got adapted a new strategy. Go ahead.
I think that's what I'm saying. Like sometimes the market does something you're not expecting, and you have to be ready. Like just because I don't think we'll get to some of the big support levels on Apple, you want to be ready if it does. Like have an idea of where you would buy it, because we might not end up as bullish as it seems like right now because of Meta.
Just reading here, guys. CNBC reporting Netflix bid for Warner Brothers is 85% cash, and they are currently the lead bidder. No confirmation on anything, but they're just saying, again, 85% cash. They're currently in the lead for the bidding war here.
I want to add something before we jump to Meta. Yeah. Paramount, Skydance upped their breakup bid from $2 billion to $5 billion, Brendo. So even if the deal doesn't go through, WBD would get $5 billion, and so they're saying that's kind of sweetening the deal. I just wanted to add them context into that.
Maybe Netflix trying to up the game here. All right, let's talk about Meta. If you missed it, that's the headline. Meta, huge move here, 685-ish. The top, we're coming back in a little bit, but 30% is a huge number. I mean, this is a huge spend. Yeah. Going back to a couple of years ago when he first announced this on the Metaverse specifically. So good to see they're winding that back a little. Yeah, and it's from a division that's not making any money, Breno. In fact, it's losing, and it has lost $70 billion since inception. So a bit of a tough look there. So as Breno mentioned, significantly reducing the resources allocated to the Metaverse. Potential cuts here being reported by Bloomberg could be up to 30% in 2026. This would likely include, sadly, layoffs,
possibly starting in January, according to Bloomberg. The cuts stem from Meta's annual budgeting process, which is always held annually at Zuckerberg's Hawaii residence. So you go to Hawaii and then you figure out how much money you're going to be cutting. Zuck did ask for 10% from every division, Brendo, but he asked specifically for more from the Metaverse because there's really not that much competition. They don't need to spend as much money to keep up. Most reductions would hit the virtual reality group, which accounts for most of their spending. And as I mentioned, they really haven't made any money on this division.
Coming back in a little bit, guys, but volume definitely tapering a little bit here from Meta.
Yeah, I mean, like,
The volume has to come off a little.
a little bit, but I'd say the volume, I'd say holding up pretty decently. Yeah, look, it's coming off a little bit, a slightly lower volume, but it's maintained high volume. So this is likely to be one of the most active, probably the most notionally active Mag 7 names. It's going to hold, it looks like it's going to hold VWAP going into the open, but remember, in a minute or so, we're going to get some imbalance data for the opening imbalance, and I would expect you could see some action on this one on the auction. So Meta, look, I was saying before, like the valuation got down to 21 forward P, 29 P. And like the thing about it is if you're ever buying something dip because of the valuation and people like, remember how out of favor Alphabet was and then the calling card for it was that it's the best value? Well, Meta turned into a really good value regardless. And when a stock does that, sometimes you don't know where the turn is going to be. So you just kind of buy into it every quarter, that kind of a thing, and it can work out. Now, today, do we hold a 50 and the 200? That's the question. That's a question I want to see answered. Like if we're closing and holding, it's treated like earnings. If we close and hold above this, it's a 50 and the 200, about the same thing here, SMAs on the daily, then I think this is going to be an ad. Otherwise, you know, if I hadn't bought, maybe I'd be a little more aggressive. But I think you got to be in a bit of wait and see mode. Can we actually hold on to this 50 and 200 period moving averages, SMAs on the daily are going to be.
Appreciate some of the comments there in the chat. But I agree with Neil and everybody here. You know, just watch out for this pullback. It's going to pull back. You know, I mean, I'm looking for that headline, guys, of when he completely changes the name again. It was like, hey, we were so excited, man. We're entering the metaverse. And not only that, we are changing our name from Facebook to Meta. I don't think they're ever going to change it back at this point. But all that Meta has done for them is given them headaches, the metaverse. I remember when they first had that Oculus and they were dropping money and they were showing videos of like people working from home and sitting around an office. And, you know, Apple got involved with their, what was Apple's thing called again? Vision Pro. And I still think, yeah, come on, man, Neil's eating, man. Just put it on me here, Andre, right over here. But there it goes. So it's a nice downside play there for Meta, and it's bouncing off VWAP right now. I think you can kind of respect, yeah, I know, it's all good. Yeah, keep doing it. Actually, show him again, he's eating more.
Always
but no, right into here, 675. Coming into play at VWAP. So it'll be interesting to see where it does hold. But yeah, there's going to be a big volume spike off the open. And normally we look for support around the 200 period moving average, but that's besides news. So this is a huge play today. I actually think there's a very good chance that that it just chugged some water myself, that it breaks above 685. Like I think that we're going to bounce and hold here, and especially if we do that off the open, then I think we take 685 and the rest is history. So I'm looking forward to a Meta long at some point today, but definitely worth settling down. And before we go back to the guys, I was talking yesterday, and I say now today too, like I'm going to try to be more patient. And if we get involved with anything, it's going to be less shares until about like 9:40, like 9:45 or something like that. I'll let you guys know when I see something that I like we did with Apple yesterday. And Apple was a good example of being patient and waiting. I don't know, I can probably try to find it on my Instagram, and it's on Instagram as well. But here, if I could just find yesterday's, there it is right here. So I just want to show you, like, you know, yesterday we had some good feels for Apple. It did make a move higher, but let it tell you where the trade is. We were trying to buy some VWAP there, boom, 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 and then we were trying to play off that little bottom wick there and the 50-period moving average, which got us longer at 945, 950, which brought us back up to the upside about $1.50. And there's a lot of outs here for sure, but we're taking more shares and taking smaller profits on those shares. And then when it breaks that bottom, then you can get out at 10:30. So this was like an hour worth of a trade that turned out to be my P&L number one. And I've been looking at some of the studies of, you know, the trading that I've been doing, and it's just, you know, getting a little too excited too early. And I think that might be what happens to Meta. So be patient, let it sort of develop a trend, which it looks like it's going to be higher. But it wouldn't surprise me either if it gives some back. I mean, first of all, this is a Bloomberg report. I'll leave it at that. All right, let's go back over to Palantir.
there are multiple people actually talking about it at this point. So I think it's pretty sound. But yeah, you're right. Bloomberg definitely one of them. Let's go Palantir. Yeah, new operating system. That's kind of terrifying. Chain reaction. Okay. Decent move at the close last night. It was a little bit of volatility, anyways. Up or down first, and then higher when all was said and done. But I mean, this is just building on their product line.
Yeah, it feels like it's another government contract here because what they're supposedly going to integrate is America's AI infrastructure. I don't even know what that means exactly, Brendo, but we'll have to find out. The company says the bottleneck in AI is no longer algorithms, it's power and compute, and that requires an entirely new energy-centric infrastructure, according to the report. The system is designed to upgrade aging power generation into high uptime resources, which is capable, Brendo, of sustaining the AI massive compute demand. So we'll have to see how that all works out, but this is kind of right down their moat.
Under a minute to go here. Factory orders coming up at 10 o'clock this morning, guys. Good luck.
Yeah, you are right. Thank you, Brendo, for that one. And thank you, Sharif, for the rundown on Palantir. Look, there's not really any imbalances here or anything that's kicking the day. Tesla's maybe has a little bit of a sell there. But Palantir is getting kicked to the downside right now. It's one of my #1 trade ideas here today. I like the new software, but again, let's be patient with it. I said 170. I'm speeding up because we only have 30 seconds here. I was saying 174. See if we can get, there's a little bit of sort of gather there around 174. That dip was 173.80 yesterday. So on good news, if we can get long Palantir, I like the stock, but we're going to give it a second. We're going to watch Tesla straight away off the open. And 3 times your daily levered ETFs, get involved with Global X and Beta Pro. We want to thank them. Scan that QR code right there for sophisticated traders here in Canada. All right, let's go. Right now, we are now open, and Tesla does make a run. It's very, very excited off the open with our little cheering there. We got a little horn going on there as well. But all right, here comes Tesla. A little bit of a pullback into 449, which is VWAP. We're going to wait. It looks like it wants to. There it goes, breaking through 450 right now. I'm not super excited about this rate yet. Let's just see what winds up happening, because if you took that, you're out 50 cents now. And we're just going to wait to see if Tesla does indeed want to head a little bit higher. So no positions for either of us yet. Meta is on a pullback, as we kind of expected, right?
Yeah,
you know, there's breaking through VWAP. Here it comes back in. I still think, I was saying, like a $1 trillion company, multiple trillions, up 5% is still a great little boon for them. So let's watch out for Meta pulling back quite aggressively now, down $20 from its high.
Intel just had a...
Is Meta. The market's kind of whooshing here, Neil.
You know, the market whooshing down and the Intel right into
whoosh?
43. So, yeah, it's a word now. Whooshing is fine.
Whooshing. We made that a word.
Pulling
Yeah,
into
whooshing.
prior high. So, look, this is one I wanted to be patient with because I thought we could have an inside day on Intel. So if it gets down into yesterday's low, that's going to be one to watch. I didn't get a chance to mention IBIT, unfortunately. Bitcoin, 53 on IBIT. 94,000 has been resistance. If we can break out that, I like the longs. But going to look for some dip support again at yesterday's lows on that bad boy. AMD I actually liked for a short at 219, but no pop. No pop in advanced micro devices. Got to watch out for Nvidia. If Nvidia continues to give it up here, it's losing VWAP. I might have to jump into an AMD short off the volume weighted average price. So yeah, you're already heading to the downside. Right away, we're back to flat on the Nasdaq very quickly.
All right, so I'm. I said I wasn't going to get into too many heavy positions, so we're not. But Palantir is approaching our 74, so I'll dip into 75 a little bit here. I mean, but we are still trying to be patient. Look, it's going to be a good trade. We can make $1 on this and see what winds up happening. So we have about 1 unit right now on PLTR, waiting for that 174 dip buy opportunity. We almost got it. There it goes. Yes, Palantir. Let's go. I mean, we're doing it again right now on Palantir. I just said there's a possible $1, Neil, for Palantir, and there it is right there. We're doing it again. What's up, DJ Grease and everybody there in the chat? It's a nice move up for Palantir so far. But let's not get too excited, man. It's only 2 minutes in. So, you know, we're giving a little bit of energy here, but at the same time, the market needs to get a little bit of a boost, man. It's heading to the downside, Neil. And I don't know if the longs...
We're definitely heading to the downside.
Yeah, like I don't know if the longs are going to be too safe here, but that's why we capture that profit. Goes right back into VWAP. We take it. Unfortunately, we didn't have an order there at 176, but we do now. Let's see what winds up happening with Palantir.
Yeah, well, Palantir, Nasdaq, iRobot. Remember we talked about the robotics story. Just a quick recap. The U.S. government is pushing for robotics. iRobot was the best and one of the best movers yesterday, but that $3 level, I need to see it hold that. Right away at the open, before the open, we had lost $3. It's trying to hold the $3 level now. So it looks like this is going to be the first thing. Maybe some stabilization happening here in Intel, but this one holding $3. Going to jump into this. Had this one on. Actually threw up the chart. I was like, you didn't have it on the note. I just threw up the chart this morning on X and was like, yeah, I like this one at 3. So we're going to try to get this. If it breaks VWAP, I'll join a VWAP break, but I want this in front of that $3 level for sure. As we're getting a bounce. I didn't like the breakout on Tesla, but I thought we could maybe travel a little bit lower on that false break of 450. Ultimately, it only went $2 down on Tesla. I was expecting more than that.
Okay.
So it's holding pretty well, but I'm going to try and get iRobot first before moving on to anything differently. The future's not looking that good.
Oh.
Like the Nasdaq is holding on to some red, and my guess is it's the thing I'm not looking at in Meta, which could be causing some of that.
Yeah, I don't mind looking at Tesla as well. We had Tesla on our board, but it's 445 already for Tesla. Just got touched out a little bit there. We're still in Palantir. It just actually made a move back up, and like it fails through 176 again. I was at 176.20, and I should have been obviously there at 176 again. So we'll see if we're able to pick something else up a little bit longer here near these lows one more time, and then we're just going to give it to 174. That is Palantir. We just looked at Tesla. I want to look at SMR. That was another name that's on the list here. I said. So I don't want to take short trades early, so we're not going to get too upset, but I said 1950 on the sticky note today for SMR. So if in the past, I would have been sitting there and taking about a 40-cent winner there, but you never know where these trades are going to line up. And then the other one, PLRZ, that I had written down on the note as well. I basically had written down there 14 low. I mean, we could check it out right here, that we're looking for that 14 low bottom, then a possible 16 hold or so there for PLRZ right there, target $19 to $20. But here comes the market, so forget about all this nonsense. The market is pulling back quite nicely right here. But look at Palantir. Oops, that's PLRZ. There goes Palantir, man. Bang, bang, and more bangs right there as the diamond hand man is in. And there it is, man. It's our daily goal hit already. $1.33 now in the money on PLTR as it was written. What's up to Nas? What's up to Queens? This is a nice move to the upside right here. There goes PLTR. Neil, it's daily goal. It's a monster. It's Palantir, and we're doing it again. Right there. Shout out to Rudy and everybody there in the chat. If I get out right here at 50, I will be out of half. So there we are now, out of half of Palantir, as your boy has changed up his game. And right now, man, we were 3 for 3 yesterday, 3 for 3 on Tuesday. We'll see if we can hit it today. It's not about the number that you make. You could go 1 for 3, you could go 1 for 10 and be fine. But we are now in Greensville pretty heavily to start the day. So far, so good there as we just focus on Palantir and we watch out for Tesla.
Oh my goodness, Tesla. Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. Good look over there. But look, we just got a nice bounce on iRobot, but this market is still looking a little bit heavy. That's making me a little bit skittish. I was going to hold half. For a break of 325. I'm no longer thinking that. I'm going to get another piece out here into 325 off the $3 bounce and just hold on to the quarter to see if we can push a little bit higher. It's the Nasdaq wanting to close above 25.6. That's going to concern me. But speaking of Tesla, you just mentioned it.
Yeah, it's Rip City.
Look, obviously you're going to focus on the stock that you're watching, the one that you're in. Tesla went from breaking the low, and I'm like, oh, maybe we are going to get that push lower. To there goes the 450 break. Bye-bye, Tesla. It's now through $450. Sometimes the second break is going to be the better one, and that looks like it's going to be the case here. So if we can close above 450 on the 3-minute, then I'm going to be a joiner. So far, 1 for 1, but I think Tesla, it was a false break. It just did not dip as far as I thought it was going to on that false break at 450. Watch out. As quickly as I said it was about to hold the 450, it completely retests it. So just be careful. I feel like the market can put a bottoming tail in and we can get one of those nice reversal trades, but I need this closing above 450 before I give up on the dip buy. I don't want to just abandon ship on the notion of a dip buy because we happen to be rallying. So just 1 for now. It's going to be iRobot. Looking now for that 3/4 break. Long at 3. Prior bar stop is 295. At this point, it can't be a loser, but we haven't pushed through to make a gigantic breakout of the high of the day yet. So, good move, but we can do more than that. Nvidia flying, hopefully Tesla too. But I don't think we're done with 450 yet.
Crazy that we came into 445 again, and as we sort of was hoping that would come in, and it does. So we just got another fill here on Palantir, as it's now almost, It did go $2. It went to 177 and stopped. So let's just wait and see if we break that. I mean, you know, if this is the story that we think it is for Palantir and the momentum that we had yesterday in PLTRs, we just sort of carried forward, choppy early, carry forward the rest of the day, right? We bumped up $6 yesterday, $7 at the close. So we'll see if Palantir has that magic in it right now. We have about 35% left, maybe a little bit more than that. So we'll wait to see if it goes, and we could still get stopped out on this, right? If it breaks back down below 174. But Palantir right here, indicating I think a 177. We should probably get some more out there, and then we'll get another piece out near the highs of 177.50 if we're lucky enough to get all of that. So far so good here for PLTR. 10% out at each one of those spots if we are lucky enough to get it. So TD Bank, yeah, I guess that we can have a quick look over there.
CIBC reported. I think CIBC and TD both reported this morning.
I didn't look at them.
So I bank with CIBC. They beat top and bottom and raised their dividend. I don't know what TD did.
Flat, I'm looking.
Yeah, because I own more.
Wow.
Than the other.
Okay, guys. Palantir right here, man. We got bullish early, and there it goes. This has been quite the adventurous couple days of trading over here. There goes PLTR. Now there's that $2, and it is just absolutely rocking right now. As Neil said, we didn't really look too much at TD Bank. I don't really know the numbers. The volume's not even that good right now. It's kind of flat here. But yeah, the Canadian banks, despite what our economy is doing, this looks like it still wants to work out as well. But there goes TD Bank. Good call. Thank you for the super chat. And just, I'm going to call it Meta, and then I'll throw back to Neil and see what he's up to. But 666 right now, Meta. So kind of
giving up the go.
Holding, but 660, you know, that would be the level there. I'd said that I think Meta has a chance to get back to 685. I still think that. It's just right now it's coming out a little bit. Maybe you wait for the VWAP push higher. And I did get filled, obviously. I was actually bidding 447 or so on the Canadian CDR there. So I'm into Tesla again as a little bit of a, hopefully, a long-term hold here as Tesla continues. And there it goes, man. Palantir just lifted itself, Neil, again. I don't even, like, this was the #1 idea here on the note, and it just prints like cash, cash, cash. There goes Palantir, man, your #1 trade. So if you're not following, fine, it's all good, man. There's lots of stuff to follow on Twitter, but you know, if you just go back and look at this sticking over the last couple of days, we've been really hitting these names quite aggressively and quite good results so far. And you didn't even have to play the breakout. You just had to wait for the dip. And I kind of broke my own rules, to be honest with you. Got in earlier than that 940 position, but it did fall into our price. So we were able to do that, and there it goes. So we still have about a quarter left. Hopefully we had a little bit there. Crouching Tiger, hidden rally. Look, I hope Meta goes back up. I don't know. I think it's great news, and the market rewards good news. So we'll have to wait to see about that. And there goes, holy shit.
Profit taking is also a thing. You have to keep that in mind as well.
Yeah,
Tesla definitely going.
Oh, Tesla.
Going to see if we can. I don't want to add it VWAP just yet on iRobot because it's still holding the same range. I like the fact, look, we bounced pretty much where you want to and hold that $3, but I don't think it's going to be an add just yet. I also want to talk about Bitcoin, which is still holding underneath 93. So this is IBIT. Very range-bound trade for now. I was kind of hoping we would test some of those lows, but if that's not going to happen, you know the drill for me. You get back above that volume-weighted average price, break a little bit of this downward trend, and then I'll be long in IBIT. I want long into the break. That's my new thing. Like, if I like the long, don't wait until it gets to the top to make that long trade. Like, get in as it breaks. As I know, I'm pretty sure that siren was Joey Options liking IBIT.
I don't want, Joe needs to get, like, I'd love to bring Joe on, but he needs to get his mic. So that's the whole thing that we need to talk about there. So once he gets his
wear
mic,
it.
He's going to put it on. Because I always want to hear what his trades are up to. So shout out to Joe. And
all right, baby, we're mic'd up, man.
There we go, we're mic'd up, all right. So what do you got going on
here?
IBIT.
SMR, baby. No, it's SMR. So we got that move right through that $20 break up to 2020, and then we take that move through the top. So yeah, that was a good one there, guys.
Yo, stop reading the sticky note, my guy. Yeah, we love some SMR, man. I told you, Joe, mini-me Joe yesterday. I really appreciate this guy. And there it is right there, SMR, $19.50 to $20 long, and this kid's got it. So shout out to you, Joe. And I know Joe put up some nice numbers yesterday, so congratulations to that. Really happy to see how you're progressing, that is for sure. So shout out to my dog over there, Joe. Taking the trades that I don't. And there it goes, SMR. So that's great, man. That's the sort of the teamwork that we're talking about right here. And, we continue to push forward. So good job there, Joe, taking those trades. SMR, man. Great minds think alike. Congratulations there to Joe. So you're still stuck in that iRobot. I haven't even been looking at it, to be honest with you. Is there anything going on with iRobot?
Well, I mean, it made a 10% move. But
it did? Okay, yeah, nice.
I mean, that's if you're into a 10% move.
No one's into 10% moves around here.
So I was about to call up SMR, so you caught me in between. SMR, there is a bit of a story, which I'll get to in a quick little second. So I opted against adding it the volume weighted average price, which I often do, and I think that's going to end up being the right decision. So it was a good decision to take that other quarter before we broke out the quarter. So 3 to the quarter, and then I want the quarter to the 50. But until we actually close higher and above that VWAP, I don't think I want to add just yet. The other thing that can happen, and again, just from a risk management standpoint, I was prior bar with the out. I now have 3 contacts on the dip. That means I've got a trend line on the 3-minute, and my stop moves to breaking that trend line. So yeah, now my stop is going to be break even, but I can always take the trade another time. But I can get back into it. But now that I have 3 contacts on that trend line, I'll get out on the trend line and just go 1 for 1 and look for that next move, which I believe, if it's not going to be IBIT, Tesla, what the heck? Why can't I? Okay, I can't. Oh, there we go.
Tesla's a monster.
Yeah, Tesla now breaking well above that 450 level. No real retest of VWAP there to be able to get into it, but I do think that 450 can now be that little line in the sand. Wanted the convincing break, and on the 15-minute, you're about to close. There's like 30 seconds left in the candle. You're going to close above the 450 in the 15-minute, which is my new litmus in terms of not taking the early breaks and favoring dip buys. I want to see it close above that level on a 15-minute candle. If it does, then I'm a little more bullish on it. So you're going to do that in 20 seconds, and then I'll buy the dip into 450 as the next plan of action. So IBIT breaking trend potentially. Tesla, in about 10 seconds, you'll have that confirmation, and then I want to buy in front of 450. As the market's still looking relatively weak, blame a little bit of that on Meta. Meta hasn't got going again. So the Nasdaq's still red at this point.
Yeah, no, the stock to blame is Google. Google right now down 1.4%. Yeah, absolutely tank city here for Google. Like just a nice move down into 315. I was wondering about a buy here because we're not really seeing like any individual stories here with this. I think the take could be that if Zuckerberg is dropping sort of the metaverse now, what does that mean for all those chips that maybe they were supposed to be buying from Google? I mean, I'm just trying to think a little bit outside the box because that's part of the best ways to think. I mean, if you think the same way as everybody else, sometimes you get caught up a little bit there. So we'll try Google just to see where it wants to go, bouncing off that 315. So hopefully there's some actionable trades that we're able to find, and we'll just buy a little bit down here. We're long now at 78s. We'll see if we can hold in and around. If we get that dip buy, we'll put a stop here. We'll just put a stop at 3. That bottom's 315. Like there's really I don't want to hold it too much past what we've already seen here today. It's 45 minutes in. So that's going to be like a 314. Like, let's just go to 89. Like I really think that we should probably have a hold here of that level. And if we don't, then let's not be too specific with what we're worried about. Thank you, Randy. Let's not be too specific about what we're doing with Google. We already are too cute with it, actually. Let's be very specific. If it breaks through 314 or 315, then we're out. Let's just give it a little bit more room. Let's go to 314.50 just because of the news, and it's a little bit of a violent name. We'll buy some, thanks, Randy. We'll buy some 315 flats, and then we'll see if it can hold. So that's what I'm going to do right now on this name, just to watch to see if there is sort of an upside play there in Google. And I do understand that at this point it's a pretty risky take. Out there on Palantir, 176.50 again. But here we go, man. We are now into Google, and it's fallen back in. The Nasdaq is not holding these levels, so this could be L here coming for Google. Break of 314.50, and we're gone. Not looking too healthy down on this side here for Google.
No, it's the Nasdaq can't catch a bid, and Nvidia is starting to drop. So Nvidia was strong earlier, but this is going to lose VWAP in here. The only there you go, there, Andre. Hopefully my mic is better. I just tried to fix the cord. So Nvidia is about to break the volume weighted average price. The only short idea I had was AMD, but it was at 219 to 220. As you can see, it got nowhere close to those levels. With Nvidia going, that's a topping tail candle for sure. So a bit of reversal happening on AMD. Got to find a different entry point than the level that we're looking for. So it's not going to be VWAP, too much chop. Sellers at 217.5. As long as Nvidia doesn't start going ham again, I'm going to put the short on here above 217. So money fills have been above VWAP, meaning it's rejecting above VWAP, not at VWAP. But I want to be short this name for sure. Hopefully the mic issues are now fixed. Just saw in the chat, Glick's quoter saying MU is collapsing.
Yeah, Micron is a disaster. I would not touch that with a 10-foot pole, man. I've been calling that sort of top for a long time.
Well, if Meta's going to stop, if Meta's going to spend less and says, hey, we need to pare back in spending, there's lots of places that can lose demand.
Yeah, I know, exactly. And I appreciate you guys. You guys like that take there. That was kind of an interesting one that I sort of just put forward there, that maybe that's potentially why Google is on the downside here. I don't know. I mean, I like to see a Meta rebound in order to get Google going. I thought Google was going to go there, man. We're long right now at 30s on Google. I should have bought some more down there, but it doesn't look like we're able to get too much longer here as well. But hey, scan that QR code right now if you have a couple quick seconds. Learn about these Beta Pro products. They're 3 times levered. Global X, they do have that fee rebate right now, or cut until the 31st of December, down to 65 basis points. They're triple levered. They're on the TSX. You can take the TSX 60, treasuries, chip names, everything like that available at Beta Pro. Go find them out, find the symbols, scan that QR code, and support them. We want to definitely thank Global X and Beta Pro for all of their support that they've given us. And there it is, man. It's now 2 times the goal right there. As we just spin it, Neil, man, we are just definitely putting something up right now. As there goes Google, now $1 in the money. And we find this name, again, like just this adjustment of my trading style has really banged out some results over the last little while. There it goes, man. Google leading the way to the upside. We'll take another piece out if we can get something in the teens, but maybe we'll just take a deep piece out right here at 09. There it is. And now we're waiting at 18. Maybe we get that, maybe we don't, but it's a nice move higher there for Google. And let's take some out near that 316 like we just did. It's Joe's theme song, you know, that Austin 316. So we'll take another piece out there if we can get it and watch this name continue to climb up. So it's Palantir, $1.50 in the money. Google right now, 75 cents. And iRobot and Apple on the other side. Good trade there on iRobot, but I haven't watched either one. So.
We said that Apple had an unlikely chance to get to 275, so I was like, well, what are the other levels I can watch? Or 80 and 82. And I'm going to zoom out just so you can see 82 was Tuesday's low, and then 80, you have to look at a 15-minute chart to be able to find that. But I do have a trend line set up here, because there's trading off of levels and there's trading off trend lines. Trend lines have worked way better for me when you're catching a falling knife or you're fading something that's really strong. So at this point, I have to go really tight stop underneath this bar low. When it got back above 282, we had basically touched like 85 or so. So I'm gonna go to the quarters just to give it a little bit more room. But if you break trend, I think that can be a nice little adding point. And bye-bye Tesla. Tesla, I'm gonna cancel VWAP. We just got to 454 on Tesla as it continues to ride higher and higher. This one leading the way. Doesn't matter about that Europe news. Nope. Tesla does not care one little bit. There hasn't been a red candle on the 3-minute yet. So the first time there's a red candle, that's when I'm going to look to take a shot at the long here in Tesla. Maybe it's here. I don't know. Wherever it happens, that's where we'll look to try to catch that dip buy, because this is one that we wanted, and it doesn't want to let us in. Nvidia is still going higher while AMD goes lower, which is weird to me. I'm on the offer of an AMD, and NVIDIA's at the high of the day, and AMD won't even pop to fade. Kind of weird. But NVIDIA looking a lot stronger. Yeah,
we pushed a button in the long term there for Tesla. That's been a banger there. And then Google, honestly, like we're just kind of cruising right now. Google just popped to 316.50 right there, and we emptied it like pretty good right there. Just not even really looking at the chart, just trying to play the momentum. Like you got a big, huge candle to the upside right there, and really Google represented quite nicely into that move. So we'll just we'll wait for it. Palantir's not doing a whole heck of a lot, and it's just look at what we had written down here on our note today for everybody, and it's just like an absolute monster of a note. It's Palantir long, it's SMR long. Literally the bottom was 1950, and then that Tesla 450 break, we just should have took it, we didn't. And then PLRZ, we actually haven't looked at that yet. So it's Tesla, SMR, and Palantir. I'm glad my guy Joe got some over there, and then Apple hopefully can go as well here. But yeah, we are now out of just over half right now of our, sorry, that's Google, yeah, of our Google trade. So good move to the high side. Look, if it breaks, we talked about that 415.50 50. So if it breaks that, then fine, we'll get out. But here we go, man. We're elevating one more time. I mean, what about if this Nasdaq actually goes? Wow, what kind of positions are we going to have here? We have a very strong trade, I think, in Palantir. Just got to try to hold. Palantir's a little bit less. You guys asked me, I think it was Eduardo or someone asked me in the chat how much I had left. I had 25. Now I have 20. So every out now is going to be about 5%, and then we'll just clear it out to the upside, hopefully, on this name. But maybe Google is one we should look at, as it's just kind of bouncing around again, some of these highs. I'm going to get out another piece of Google there. I just offered 35s, and it slams down. This is a very, very aggressive name, man. I mean, it's 20, 30 pennies at the blink of an eye. So get your offers out. If there's anything I think we've taught you guys is,
I mean, 20, 30 pennies.
The price you want.
Is a fraction of movement on that stock, right? Nothing, like 1% is $3 on the stock. So it's like 0.1% if it moves 30 pennies. So just remember that when it comes to spread. So iRobot, I think we made the right call not adding into this one. So I didn't average back into it, or it wouldn't have been an average back in because it would have been averaging up technically, but I didn't buy VWAP, went with the break even stop. That was more of a gut feel, and then the trend line, it's a broken trend line. I'm not shorting it because I still remain bullish, at least for now, on the stock. I'll just wait for it to get back above VWAP to take a second shot. Like yesterday, essentially it was a couple of shots like this on silver. Palantir was pretty good as well. That just quickly gave in and out, and then there wasn't much a little bit later on. Apple took our first shot, but I said I was gonna go prior bar instead of giving it a wider stop, so pretty tight stop. I get it, that's just me. Bigger levels lower, 80 and 75 are the two that we kind of figured you had almost no chance to get to on Apple. Maybe we do have a chance to get to both of those. But if there's going to be a fail for myself, it's got to be that AMD. I elected to what? Not chase it at VWAP and say money fills above 217. So the money fills were above 217, and my calculation was that as Nvidia was coming up, it was going to give me those fills. Nvidia bounced to the high, AMD broke lower. So kind of missed out on that one. Expected a little bit of follow through, and then we'd be able to short it. But AMD was the only stock I like short. It's down 1%. I don't really have a particular reason for why AMD is going to be weak, but you're seeing Micron take it on the chin a little bit here. You're seeing like Intel's down. So there are a bunch of chip names that are looking red for sure. But the other thing which is starting to come in is going to be Tesla. So got to look for our first shot to be able to catch this one on the bid. Still always prefer the volume weighted average price, but if it makes a rounded bottom somewhere else, then I got to take that. You take what you can get. Definitely was a false break at 450, but the re-break was absolute chop fest. It chopped like $1.50 in either direction, which to me didn't give you a clear entry.
What's up, Digital Holdings? They're asking about, maybe we can find that print there. He wants to copy some of the trades here, but I don't think, we're not really, here, I got it. We're not really about that. You guys can follow us here and figure it out. We do have API access and everything like that. So I do think that would be an awesome opportunity for us, but that's not, we're not in this business, and I don't know if you want to. Like, you can always ask us if we're green or red on the day, and then, you'll get a good opinion on sort of where our fills are coming from and how well we're doing. But
yeah, and be sure to ask, like, what styles are working best over, like, the last couple of months, whatever, what adjustments, like that kind of a thing, because it's more about process than anything else. Copy trading,
it doesn't work.
I can make a huge rant about copy trading, but like there's a timing factor of it. There's so many things about it that don't actually work. Right? Like it's
I mean, do your own stuff, because like I said, you guys
literally
just
impossible
watching us trade here, but we don't give you guys the share sizes. We don't we could be red on the day, but we're showing you all of our winners. But that's why I'm just trying to focus on like making the good process, making the good decisions, and that's that, right? And so that's why I think it's important to. I think it's a great call. So first of all, thank you so much for watching, and I think that copy trading is something that people want to do, and I think you can sort of do that just by listening to us and figuring out where our positions are, what our outs are, and things like that, and then you can sort of wrap your head. It's literally the reason why I put out that note, was getting so many questions about like what levels are you looking at, and what are you thinking, and so that's why we're starting a little bit earlier, right? So you guys can see I just got some piece out there at 16s. We're starting a little earlier to sort of talk a little bit more about this kind of stuff. And there it goes. So I just think if you want to do it, watch our trades, because we don't give our share size. Just simply super chat or ask us green or red, or like Neil said, individual names things like that, how they're working out for us. But all right, so let's just go talk a little bit about trading quickly here. SMR is pulling back, but let's have a quick little look. 91,000 there for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is on a little bit of a run south side right now at 91 and change. But here we go, man. This is something. Hey, if someone wants to build something for us, what about our own little heat map here, so I don't have to keep showing trading view? Amazon, Walmart, Costco today. Wow, I don't know. Costco was trying to think about something with those tariffs. Adara, what's the story with Costco today? Down 2.5%. Not great there for Costco. We'll get our first look at Adara very soon, hopefully, guys. Amazon 1.4% coming through. Yes, Adara.
It's their wholesale net sales for the month of November. They're up 8.1%. Not clear why the market doesn't like that, but clearly the market does not like those numbers.
Oh yeah, down 2.3%.
The market's not liking there for right now.
Yeah, for that one. AMD downside as well here. Apple downside. Eli Lilly. I mean, here's the health technology sector. Not great. UNH has had actually a decent run.
Yesterday was huge.
Yeah, yesterday was huge for. There it is. Health services for UNH. I'm in Oscar. I'm not in UNH, but UNH is down right now 1%. Oscar's not going to make it here. This is a S&P 500 heat map. Right there. So yeah, we're just cruising right now. We're 2 for 2 with Google and Palantir. Palantir may lose the bid. Like I said, we're getting out of this as we go. We got another 5% there. We only have 15% left as we're just trying to take some profits as we break through 175.50 and not letting this get away from us. The market is bleeding right now. I mean, I guess they didn't like. I mean, what number did we get this morning? We got, it was ADP yesterday, jobless claims or something? And it just...
Today was initial and continuing jobless claims.
Right, so I don't know, man. The market is
look at how
not
quickly, if you're completely, look, if you just sort of sit randomly in front of levels sometimes, look what could have happened to you on Tesla. Like, I'm looking for a spot to get in.
But
I'm not just going to bounce off this line and be like, I'm taking it anywhere. That was a huge trend break. And we're going to make a run potentially at 450 again. So VWAP's at 51, but the 450 is kind of that big line in the sand that you want to be able to hold. Big time reversal here in Tesla. And while that's happening and the market's going down, but Nvidia broke VWAP. Nvidia's tracking down toward the low, so you're getting a bit of a change in sentiment. So rushing into a long is not going to make too much sense. Even iRobot, I had iRobot up. So I'm just going to keep it on Tesla here because that's the stock I'm watching the most. But iRobot lost to $3 again, so it was right to get out of that one. I'll look for if it's going to stay bullish, you got to do something that looks bullish to me, because right now this stock that doesn't look bullish. We got a nice break off the $3 level, made a 10% move, and now it's right back at those lows and not looking that good. We got happening now with Adara, no new numbers, I believe, at 10 o'clock, but still we got to figure out what's happening now.
There are some numbers here. Factory orders 0.2% versus 0.3% expected. That's going to be for the month of September, though, so it's a little bit delayed. Core durable goods revised 0.6% versus 0.6% previous. Durable goods revised also in line with the previous print. So the only real print of note here is a slightly lower than expected factory orders for month over month. Again, that would be for the month of September. Here is the market. Market initially here pushed higher pre-market, but then pulled back quite a bit off the open, and that is likely because of this story here with META leading the market higher and then pulling back with the rest of these stocks. Now, META on watch here after Financial Times reported, we're just in general seeing reports here. The Financial Times reported a different story with Meta, but long story short here, reports are suggesting that CEO Mark Zuckerberg of Meta is planning deep cuts of maybe 30% to the company's Metaverse efforts. We know Metaverse has been a long time an area of contention here for META. We also have names like CRM on watch. There are a ton of earnings names or earnings day one names here in focus today, but CRM may be one of the most high profile. They did report a EPS beat, but a sales miss. Guidance a little bit tepid here for Q4 of the year. Before we send you back to the guys, we're going to take a moment to thank our good friends over at Origenics, trading on the NYSE as OGEN. There are millions of concussions, but zero approved therapies. Origenics, trading on the NYSE as OGEN, is advancing a new standard with its intranasal brain-first approach to concussion treatment. With an $8.9 billion market on the horizon, Origenics is positioned to drive what's next. See what's ahead. Book a meeting today. Back to you.
Taking out some more Palantir here, but yeah, not much else going on. I took out some Google on the high side. And the net's just relatively flat here. I might not even hold this Google. Like, I don't know what's going on. The market looks like it wants to drip lower. I know we're not in any shorts, but Oh, there was a name that I wanted short. It was Apple. I wanted Apple short, actually.
Was AMD, and AMD.
Oh, my God.
Not bouncing at all. Oh, just very quickly.
I wanted that Apple short.
I went to grab VWAP on Tesla. This will end up, I mean, by absolute complete luck, I think I paid in fees what I made in gross. So anyways, I went to grab VWAP on this one and kind of keystroked it $1 higher, but I just punched out right away, which ended up actually somehow being exactly flat. So still looking for the long, but I didn't want to chase it up there. I was actually looking to bid there. I've put my bid into VWAP. If we get it, we get it. But speaking about potential shorts, if the Nasdaq gets to VWAP, the Nasdaq right now, this is a 15-minute of the Nasdaq, bounce, fade, and we're trying to bounce again. So if we were to get back into overnight lows at 25.6, that would be a spot that, hey, I want to look for resistance to that level. So I'd be looking short, and the stock that I'm looking short today is AMD. So I'm going to be watching AMD on a futures bounce for a potential fade into the volume weighted average price. Maybe it'll be at 217 where we liked it before. You can cross your fingers, but the level doesn't matter. It's where the futures get to that point. That'll matter the most, at least to myself. So Tesla's trying to go. iRobot, unfortunately, I don't know. I might go over and look to see if Rich Tech is any better. You could double bottom here. Let's see, either we double bottom or we can regain 3 in VWAP, or I'll move on to something else that might look a little bit better. And the reason I said Rich Tech is this one's making higher lows. So iRobot's not doing as much. This one's looking a little bit stronger. And they're both cheap names, $3, $4, both the same story from yesterday. So I'm pretty ambiguous into which one I would trade. It's whichever one looks better. And right now, RR is looking better than iRobot.
I'm still waiting at 316.80. So hopefully that can come, but I took a 316.20 fill because like staring at these levels and just seeing them bounce and just in a very much in a trending position is not Google right here. If anything, it's trending lower. We're basically barcoding, looking for it to get back to the upside. So I promise you no more outs now until we hit that 80 mark. I'm sitting there bidding or offering, sorry. Hopefully we can get that. Let's move on to something else. I mean, and of course, if I think, I talked about the reason why I sort of thought this was happening, and if that is the case, then we need Meta to bounce as well. So if Meta can bounce off there, I think that can help Google just in the space. So let's see if that wants to come true for us there on a nice higher move up for Meta. Should spike a little bit into Google. All right, ASTS is a rocket ship apparently in the chat there. So let's have a quick look at Astis there, $66 right now, and a nice move up, man, 7%. There goes ASTS. So nice move there for Astis. I don't know if there was a story involved with this, but Astis Space Mobile going high side. Let's check in on what we bought yesterday, ARKQ, the autonomous robotics. So there we go. That's actually working out again today.
No story in ASTS, just to clarify.
All right, no story on ASTS, so all good over there. But yeah, big time stories today in the metaverse. But ASTS not doing anything, ARKQ not doing anything. Tesla on some sort of a pullback, maybe. Down to 451. What a great VWAP pull there as well. Bang, there it is, man. There it is, Neil. Now we get $1.65 on Google as Google rips right back up to the high side. So my trading today is Palantir long, which is finally starting to go, and Google long. And there it is, man. We are now finally at a good spot for us there 2 times after the first half hour. So not too bad. We'll see if it can take out 316. I like 317.50 there. Maybe VWAP's at 318. So if we can get something into 317.50, I think that's going to be my next target. But lighter and lighter and lighter, man. Now we only have about 25% of Google left. Let's go to 317.25. See if we get another piece out on the high side for that one. But wow, another pretty decent day here in Marketville, to say the least, for that. So you got to have that confidence. Yeah, that's right. Whatever your name is, Faye, this, that, whatever, in the chat. Thanks again for the support. I was wondering about oil. You know, that could be in the next play, but
oil, you could.
We'll wait. Yeah, I don't have any plays for it, but I was thinking like it's been so depressed, and it's like it's the get up trade that still needs to happen. We talked about Nat Gas. I said that a couple weeks ago, gas, but I didn't trade it. So it's
my view with oil is, while it's not doing anything, find a dividend player and buy the support levels because you're not getting a heck of a lot of growth in terms of movement. So I like CVX. I buy CVX on support, and get your dividend because they're just not really doing much of anything. And look, so I pivoted to RR. There's a slight double bottom happening in iRobot, but unless it breaks this trend, like what's the point? The way I see it, RR is on a trend line, so I'm going to buy in front of the trend line that gives me the VWAP for it to work, and then play into the high. This is also above yesterday's top, so it's just a little bit stronger. Right? Like I like the robotics play day 2, that was going to be part of the plan. So Rich Tech just ends up giving me what I think is a better shot at a secondary play. All right, here comes, I guess you can get what you can get and not be upset. AMD is not pressing as the market pressed up, and Nvidia just retook the low. So there's the bottom wick, 215, about 75. If it's going to be now, then it's going to be now. It looks like this is as far as it wants to go up, and if it's going to curl here, I'm not waiting for VWAP. I'll take one shot here at about 215.5. Just give it to the opening range bottom. As right now the market's looking like it's trying to bounce higher, but you know, VWAP could happen. We'll see. What was that?
Is Andre saying something?
Oh, I heard you say something.
Oh no, I didn't say anything at all. I'm trying to think about what to do. I'm looking at stock. Like there goes Google. Like it's up to 317. My offer is at 317.25s, so hopefully that can rip upside there. I'm just kind of I was looking for trades. Like the one trade that I was a little bit upset about, this was a couple minutes ago, was Apple, because we had looked at this early on and I had said sort of the trend here was to the downside, and if I was looking short on any name today, it would have been Apple. And that's too bad, because when the market started going, I should have, it's not instead of anything. I mean, this is just a monster trading for Google and for Palantir, so we couldn't be more happy with the performance. Okay, we're at 317.25. I was gonna say I don't want to miss it, but there it goes. So yeah, man, you know, calm down, easy looking trades, just making the best trades that I can find out there. And like when Google went downside, to me, that was just a great buying opportunity. And now we're over 350 in the money on these two trades, and we only have 2 trades on. And we still have a decent percentage, about 15 to 20% on both of these. And just waiting for Palantir. Like, this one might be, you know what? I'm going to get a piece out right now at 176 on Palantir. Let's just get a piece out. It's Google that's really running for us. We've made more money on Google than Palantir here today, but still like both of these trades. As the longs came in, and we had long bias. Every single thing on here was long. So we'll try to hold this and sit back, relax, kick it back a little bit there, and just enjoy trading once again here today. Thank you so much to everybody in the chat. Very, very positive comments. And hey, look, when it works, it works. And we've just been hot. Like, we're 8 for 8, our last 8 trade ideas. So like, it's like gambling, right? You're seeing the board well, you hit it, and there it goes. Palantir and Google, really good start of the month. But Adara is always in the back with some news. So this is what we're going to go over to. Let's see what Adara's up to.
Just be aware here with regards to WBD, or maybe PSY, but especially WBD if you are trading this one. We do have a lot of different reports here coming from Charles Gasparino, who frequently reports for Fox Business. He's been posting quite a lot on X this morning about the ongoing happenings with this bidding war for WBD. He's most recently posted that apparently Paramount Skydance sent a letter to David Zaslav of WBD, basically going kind of hostile. They're saying directly to Warner Brothers that they are the best choice, PSKY, over Netflix, because Paramount Skydance is likely the name that's going to get the easiest regulatory approval for a deal from U.S. President Donald Trump. So again, looks like some hostility attempts here from PSKY to get WBD. I will keep an eye on this story, but Charles Gasparino is the man to follow on X if you're really interested in this catalyst. Back to you.
You're going to do it, just take a deal already, Warner Brothers. Like, you've got all the bids in. If Netflix is the best deal, just take a deal. Don't let your shareholders get punked. Because I've seen way too many times. You get like a bidding war, and it's like, oh, you don't get anything done, and you look back like 6 months later, and the shareholders get absolutely punked because they end up holding the bag because you thought you could get more and you couldn't. The Nasdaq heading right back into the lows. I'm going to show you Tesla in a quick little second. Again, I think patience sometimes works, but the Nasdaq right back into the lows, grabbed AMD. It ends up wicking that, I'll call it the pre-market low at 216. So as long as it holds underneath this, it's going to play to about 214.75 or so in between half and evens. And if it breaks down 14, I think you could have a trend into yesterday's lows as well. But it was Tesla, obviously you can go line on chart, but Tesla tried to hold 450 and completely rejected it. So if you're bullish on Tesla, it just has not, outside of like the right at the open, it just hasn't done much of anything. We could, like I can wait for it to make some kind of a confirm a trend here and then break that trend, but that's what I'm gonna do. I feel like that level of patience is gonna be required. So it might mean not getting into Tesla long, to be honest with you, but look at it, it's headed down. You really had to have it clean or just be like, the line at VWAP is going to hold and that's all I care about, which is not really gonna be my style. So we could get a trend break, that could get me long on Tesla. Otherwise, just gotta look for what might be next. And shout out to everyone in the chat. I've seen it a bunch of times in the chat, although I don't think I saw it on the visualizer. It was UiPath. Is it even on there? Okay,
I don't know. They reported
look, a bunch of people have typed in UiPath. Oh, it is on there. It's like number 5. 16% up for UiPath. So this one is a Cathie Wood special that is breaking out in a big way. Watch out if you're long 17.5 on the daily. That's a bit of a, not a bag holder level. It's too strong to call it a bag hold level, but it's a resistance level that we're tagging. So 17% up on earnings. And this was already up going into earnings, everybody. So congratulations for pointing that one out. My guess is not everyone's typing $ when they put that one in. Or it might have a few more looks on that board, because I've seen it a bunch, but it's only number 5. Right now, top is going to be Meta for obvious reasons, Tesla. And then number 3, which has not been mentioned, is BBAI.
How much is BBAI up? I mean, that's another, what's up?
According to this, 5.25.
Yeah, shout out to the Army and the Brigade, man. We are definitely long on that name. We're also long on some Marvell there today. Thank you so much. We had that comment up there that telling me not to be too modest, but at the same time, it's like, I don't want to, you know, we're just sitting here doing what we're doing. And I'm just going to talk about the trades that I'm in. Neil's going to talk about the trades that he's in. And at the end of the day, we're putting on, hopefully, what is a very good, informative, educational show, you know, at the end of the day. And so we all trading for our own pocketbooks here. So yeah, I'm going to get a little excited when we do have those wins. And like I said, man, we've been really identifying some great opportunities for you guys over the last couple days, including right now, Neil's got this Rich Tech Robotic. He's got the AMD, had iRobot and Apple earlier. But yeah, we've made, and you know, I don't mind talking about this, like now we're at 2 times our daily goal there, off 2 for 2 trading so far here today. But let's look at other places, right? What's going on with SoFi right here today? So I like the financials. And SoFi, I know it's not a traditional financial, it's a relatively new idea there in the space. You know, app focus, trying to get some new, they had a lot of business with the student loans, you know, wrap up those early accounts, get them into the ecosystem. And SoFi, I really like this name, and I think this is going to be one that we're going to look back in a couple years and think like, okay, you know, potentially this was a good opportunity to get some of this. But again, what a run it's had this year alone. Both Robinhood and SoFi have been pretty monstrous. And you guys, you know, if they're in your account, you definitely would know what we're talking about, because it's definitely been a decent run for both of these names. And Robinhood today, though, kind of like flattish on the day, so we'll have to wait to see if there is a pop and drop in that. And we identified for you guys earlier Citigroup. You know, with this rate environment, which we're in right now, which is apparently cut. I mean, right now, I guess I can refresh this from today's data. If anything, today's data probably increases this chance. Well, 87. The data was relatively flat today, so 87% to 13%. So there still is that good look for the rate cut down to 350, 375 overnight rate. And then in January, there's a third chance, well, it's called a quarter chance, of another rate cut in January. And then in March, there's even a 10% chance that we're going 3 times. So December, January, March. There's a 10% chance of that, and there's a 40% chance that we're at least going twice. But there's also a 44% chance that we stay put at the December cut rate. So, you know, I think that's going to be okay. Well, now our net is at the highs of the day, so something's ripping right now. Maybe it's Palantir. Yeah, so there goes, okay. There goes Palantir, man. We're doing it again here. Let's get something out in the 50s, see if we can do that. But looks like we're just in the same positions right now. So HIMS, I guess, yeah, that was a good, you said to mention, or maybe it was earlier there in Canada there today, but it's Rich Tech, it's AMD, it's Palantir, and it's Google. That's what we're trading today. Thanks to everybody for your opinions and everything that you've been doing in the chat, man. It's very, very humbling.
Him's buying Live Well, which is Canadian to expand into Canada. That is going to be the news story for them. So everyone that's following along with that one, it was one of the few names that was actually gapping up today. Not going to lie to you, even as a Canadian, my first thought was, is that big of a deal? Like, are we a big?
No, I don't.
No,
think so.
you know what?
We have a different healthcare system too.
Yeah, like I actually wasn't in my mind thinking that was a particularly big catalyst. I was trying not to. I know the stock was going up, and I'm like, whatever. I don't have a strong opinion about it, but I'm like, Canada's not comparatively that big of a market. But anyway, so we have 3 contacts on the trend line. Just going to give you a couple of updates here. 3 contacts on the trend line. So I was buying in front the first time. It then confirmed, so I bought a little bit more. We're going to play it into the highs and 450. And just to show you why we don't like it too much further than that, $4.70 resistance is also the 50 period on Rich Tech. Got one fill on AMD as it was coming back in, but now it's tagging 216 again. So if it does another topping tail, I'd reload and then look for the bottom again. But if it doesn't, like it's just going green, there's no reason to reload. You get one topping tail candle. If there isn't a second one, then I just jump out of the trade. And then it's more of a flat trade than anything else. Get some out 1-to-1. Hold on for the other half. Do not have to add back in. So we're going to stick with Rich Tech Robotics. I wanted to say
restaurant brands? Oh, okay.
It is what it is. And Tesla, unfortunately, I said it just might never set up a long again. So there was that little trend that I thought could come in at VWAP and break it. And we're still all red candles, still trending down on Tesla. There's nothing that sets me up to get into a long trade yet for this. I'm trying to be patient. It's only 10:18. Like just because Tesla doesn't look like a long now doesn't mean it can't get better in a little bit here. So you just have to wait for that opportunity to come in. And number 3 on the list, or whatever it was, I believe was BBAI. No particular story that I was aware of here. But up that 6%, as you mentioned. And what was the stock yesterday we talked about? I believe it was actually Rich Tech Robotics in the 200 period moving average, BBAI in the 200 period moving average as well. Right? Like if a stock respects it, sorry, I just need to let it do this so you can see, there you go, a little bit better. Generate 200 points, you guys can see it there. When a stock does this, respect, 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 and every time it's bounced, you've had at least a couple bucks when it's bouncing. This particular bounce has gone $1, and it's usually gone more than that. So I don't know where the top would be there. I think $7 looked pretty good for resistance. But yeah, congratulations for in that, as I will now save this trend line. And as this goes higher, my stop just moves to a break of the trend line, right? Like it might be here at one point, and then it's going to move up to like 425. If it goes to 450, it'll probably be like 435 to 440 as this one tries to gravitate higher and higher. Let us know what else you guys might be watching here. I just saw someone say the Russell is strong.
Yeah, the Russell, we talked about that earlier
today. The market's
today.
not strong right now, so maybe you got to look for
crazy
strength elsewhere. Yeah, the Russell breaking out the highs.
All right.
2 days in a row, leading the way.
Yeah, Russell's been great. We had that weekly chart up for the Russell, trying to do some damage over there as well. Okay, and out at 316 there on Google as we've come back in. So I have less than 10% now of both of these trades. So both Google and Palantir, and we're still at our goal, so everything is fine. I wish we obviously had a little bit more on Palantir here, as that's going oppo of Google right now, as Palantir going back up to 177. Let's take that opportunity to light the lamp. Right there on PLTR. Yeah, that Big Bear AI, man, we've been part of that brigade now for half a year, a little bit more, and we do like that 200 period moving average for sure. All right, a little bit of a quick check on Meta, and then we'll go over to Adara. So honestly, the sleeping giant that was awoken earlier today seems, wow, it's a big one, Andre. This seems to be still sleeping now. I mean, it was a big one today early, lots of volume, big movement up there as the slashing of potential jobs and spend there in the metaverse affecting the stock. And it looks like it'll be fine at the end of the day. But right now, it is downside for Meta as we start the day, but a great move at 9 o'clock when Bloomberg and other sources started to report that story. All right, we've been waiting for a while. It's Adara, it's 10:21. Let's go find out what she's talking about.
First name I have to mention here is not a small cap, it's Raytheon. RTX on watch here announcing a strategic partnership with Amazon Web Services in order to improve services for space customers. So nice rally here for RTX. Let's talk about these small caps, starting with PLRZ. Yesterday, PLRZ did have a catalyst, Poly Horizon, coming out here and basically saying that they have decent trial data for one of their nasal treatments. Then this morning at 7:32 a.m., they released this very, kind of generic press release just talking about the company's journey. I guess the market likes that, and they push higher. AXGN, though, is really strong. This one is a bit more expensive. Fair warning, trading around over $33 right now, heading to $33.50 at day's highs after getting FDA approval for its biologics license application for Avance. And last but not least, PMI, Picard Medical Inc. Yesterday after the close, they announced that alongside Syncardia Systems, they are going to be presenting here at the CSI Focus DHF event. That'll be tomorrow. So events tomorrow. They announced this yesterday, but gap up this morning for PMI. Before we send you back to Sean and Neil for more trading action, guys, I just found something crazy. I'm digging into exchanges and I stumbled across BTCC. So top 30 globally, but here is the wild part. BTCC has never been hacked. While major exchanges keep getting wrecked, BTCC stays untouched. Zero KYC if you are in the US, Canada, or Europe. Through Trader TV, you get 100 USDT coupons for registering, plus 15% bonus thing that covers up to 15K USDT losses. Seriously, what am I missing here? Scan that QR code for more info. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara. And one of the things that we said for sure is many times, have an out, know where it is before you get into a trade.
Bang.
Right? So pre-market low, I mean, it's not technically the exact pre-market low. And one thing that you should consider as well is if you're looking for support and resistance, I tend to prefer bodies of candles for price areas over like the wicks, especially in the pre-market. So if it's about 216 even, I just threw the even dollar stop there. So half to the half to the half. But the second you get out, look at that trend break to the upside. And with that being said, I'm talking about AMD, you guys can see plainly. RR, it just tagged the high of the day, Rich Tech. So the trend line just continues, obviously continue to move higher. So I move a stop again. It's not much, but it's going to be at about break even now. So if it loses break even or just underneath VWAP, I'll be out of this. I still actually have 2/3 of this one, as I was looking for just, essentially to get to 450, right? So I'm sitting in front of 450 for the next leg up. And sometimes with a penny stock or like a small cap stock, it's not really a penny stock, you look for those obvious quarters. And so it's like quarter to quarter, kind of almost held for there. So if it breaks trend, I can jump out of it, just like I did with our other friend, iRobot, which is no longer good. Like this one was trending up, got out at break even when it stopped trending and went over to the robotics play that was trending to the upside. And that ended up being Rich Tech. If it loses trend, I'll jump out and wait for the next opportunity, which continues to not be Tesla. I mean, Tesla, every time it looks like we're gonna, hey, this is where we test that, consolidate, there's the break of trend line, what happens? Rejection again. So Tesla continues to fall. Tesla's about to go red on the session, unfortunately. So what looked like it was going to be a good long today just hasn't materialized. Sometimes that's just how it's going to be. And I can tell you from experience, oftentimes, like you'll look back and the best risk management decision you made was effectively not taking a trade because it just didn't look good anymore. Like there's something about it that didn't set up. Even if you like the price, even if you like the direction, it just didn't set up. So you didn't force it. And like I might have gone long here, maybe. But nothing about it broke that trend line, so we didn't. And as I said, break even stop on RR, it loses the trend line, I get out. I don't care about VWAP at that point. If I'm in because of the trend line, I'm out because it loses the trend line. It's going to be that simple. So, to each, you have to sort of stick to your own style for sure, but I'm kind of glad we didn't take Tesla at this point. Market breaking lows, didn't really have many short ideas, to be honest with you. So unfortunately, going to have to sit on our hands for a bit as the market continues lower and lower and lower. That Meta story didn't give us the juice that we wanted. Meta also about to break the low today.
It's just funny because, like as Neil says, like the market goes lower, and we've just like really hit multiple days on these two longs, and I think it's just about being patient, as Neil said. Like, we had wrote down here 443 to 444 on Tesla, so if we're going to do anything, we're going to look at it when it gets down there. We talked about the 450 break, that worked for a couple bucks. Other than that, man, you know, you got to let it settle down. It's 1030 right now. The miss was SMR, and we actually wrote that down, and then we tweeted it out too, and that was right into here. There's my 1950 as we wrote down on the sticky note. There's SMR coming into 1950, and then there's the 20 break as well. So all of these plays, man, definitely creating some upside momentum there for SMR. So you know what I mean? Like, as Neil just said there, every style their own, but you know, we're hitting it right there, and I'm glad that Joe got that trade there today on SMR. We'll review all of our trades in about, I know we didn't do it yesterday and people were asking us for it, so we could do that again near the end of the day. But for right now, let's just keep on looking to see what else is bumping. And so there's Tesla back down to 445. Remember, we wrote down 444. So we'll maybe be a little patient. Oh, let's check out day 2 on Marvell. We haven't looked over there yet. I was gonna say it's probably not a great day for them, but it's actually started out fantastic, up to 103 there for Marvell. Wow, you know, instantly up 3% for Marvell there today, and then instantly faded back in. Almost best days was its birthday at 9:45, and then boom, right there down to the downside there for Marvell. So we have to be watching out for that play. Possibly breaking through $100 again might be something. I'd rather wait for a VWAP take of 101 for Marvell. And the other trade that I think we should maybe be looking at is NVDA. And Nvidia right here just bounced about 4 or 5 times clean off of 180. Like, it didn't even think about doing anything different than what we had thought there at 180. It just ripped now up to 181. That's a Dollar Club member right there on Nvidia. All you had to do was be patient. I know you had the AMD short there and got out of it, which might be a good move, because there goes finally Nvidia. So there that name goes back there to the upside. I mean, as far as some of the Bitcoin names go, Martin Shkreli takes a position in QCLS. Okay, let's have a quick look.
Is it a biopharma stock? Because that would be good.
Yeah, if it's anything other than pharma, I don't think it matters. This guy's a joker. QCLS, right, QC Technologies. So, all right, let's go find out about this one. So again, remember, like, be careful with it, because this is, and I don't want to say that the due diligence, I mean, I'm assuming Shkreli's doing some of that. It's just watch out that you're not the liquidity used to get out of these positions. But QCLS on the chart looks like a relatively new name here. Maybe it doesn't look like a SPAC. I don't know if this is an IPO or not, but 340 down to 280. There's the bump up on QCLS. So for me, you guys asked about what the chart looks like. Oh, first of all, by the way, we are now at our highest spot all day. Palantir is ripping. Google's back up to 317. This is all good, but QCLS there, good look there. Thank you for the super chat. I would say just pullbacks into VWAP is where you want to buy this thing. 640, 650. Because remember, the bulls will win northbound of VWAP. The bears will win southbound. So if this is a bullish name, we want to play runners back to VWAP. Obviously, this name will be covered on the midday show as well. Yeah, so this is what's rallying your boys net over here again. It's Google, man. We just stay in the same positions here and just play off our strength, right? Finding trades, finding good levels and hitting them hard. Like, that's what I'm doing. That's the strength that I feel that I have. So we're going to wait and see what winds up happening now with Google. And we, if anything, I should have reloaded that 315 area and didn't do that. So, you know, we'll just take advantage of this and get a little piece out here near 317. It's 10:30, and Adara's patiently waiting. Oh, there's another Chaos Katina Club. That's a Sebastian thing. I don't know if that's you, Sebastian. What's up to hyper stagflation? Let's see if we get any stagflation in this market. But we're going to go back over to Adara. Story or segment? Let's go find out.
It's actually clarification on Martin Shkreli QCLS. So he announced this on X yesterday, right at 9:30 a.m., right at the open. So kind of an odd choice. As you can see here, the stock actually moved right on that. So again, Martin Shkreli saying that he likes it for optical computing, and that was announced as of yesterday morning. So again, just a clarification there. QCLS is a Martin Shkreli play, but it is not like brand new as of today. Back to you.
It's oddly enough like a low-key another dig at quantum. Yeah, it does. When you think about it, because he's bearish on quantum computing, and now he's like, so he likes an alternative more. So almost like doubling down against quantum computing, saying this optical will be the next thing instead of quantum computing. So it's like a double down without doubling down. oddly enough. I was just having a conversation in the chat. Where are you with Glaze? Because Glaze, I'm trying to find it here. It's too far up to use the tool, Andre. So Glaze, do you ever get stopped out too early? And my answer was absolutely. And then you say that your problem is you'll take profit, but then that ish will just go. I'm doing a euphemism. Obviously, I know what you actually said. That's going to happen to you all the time. Anybody that tells you that's not true is like lying to you. But if you have like a style or a system, you just do what works for you over the long run. And individual days, individual trades will be what they are. But you should really, like if you're trading for a long period of time, or at least attempting to, then you have to look at it from that standpoint. Is what you are doing working over a long period of time? And if the answer is yes, there's going to be noise. Sometimes you will get out on a trail out, and it's like, crap, I got out too early. It just held VWAP, and that ends up being wrong. And then sometimes I will look at the exact same thing, like it was pretty much the exact same thing on iRobot, which I'm just going to type in for you here, where I do get out on a trend break, and it was dead right. So like you just do the system and do what's going to end up working for you in the long run. That's all that ends up mattering. And so you have to be able to show, like sometimes it's just a matter of having a process. And can you have a process that works over a longer period of time? That's how you're going to be able to try to get better for sure. And speaking of such, we waited and waited and waited, and Tesla finally. I don't want to be jinxing it here, but I think I'm going to. Finally looking like, so there's your break of the trend. If we can close above the trend line, that could even give you a 450 and a VWAP break here. But starting, and for the first time since that high, looking a little bit better here on Tesla. So I want to wait for the close of this bar, or at least some volume to start to look a little bit better. I don't like declining volume. If I see some more volume strength in this bar, I could jump in on this bar or wait for the next, or simply get a VWAP take here on Tesla.
Okay, yeah, just looking to see if there's any more ideas coming in the chat. We're still in the Dollar Club on both of these, but looking for a little bit more. All right, Occidental just coming on this scanner here. We talked a little bit about energy today, and must just be a VWAP break, and there's nothing going on with Oxy. Let's just check out XOM. I was actually debating getting into some, like I said, I basically don't have any energy plays. So, today XOM getting lower a little bit, down 0.5%. They've had some good runs and bounced definitely clean. Like, look at this 50 period. Moving average for XOM, it's been pretty good, man. I mean, it hasn't been great. It's pretty choppy into there. I don't know. I don't want to buy these names for the dividend, honestly. Like, I don't. You can get the dividend in cash right now. There's cash accounts paying 4%. So I'd rather buy a name that I do think has decent upside potential. I don't think right now in the oil space there's too much of that. And I think if you wanted to do anything and diversify a little bit, we just had 52-week highs, if I'm not correct, and I'll have to, if I'm not mistaken, actually, in Valero. But there's XLE. This could get some get up to it. They do have a dividend. They're looking to break through this level as well. And I think it was Valero. Valero is actually, I may still own a small bit of this. This was a play that I had for a very, very long time. And just over the last, I mean, they're not there now, but right there, that is like 186. Like, you want to talk about something that has a little bit of momentum in the energy space. Valero, the refiner, would be one of those as well, as a nice little climb back in through 170, 175, 185 there for Valero. So this could be something that I was looking at it, and that's why we're talking about it, dipping into this 50 period of 170. There, you get it all the way back to where we were back in September as I double check the charts prices. And there it is. Look at that. You don't get this too often, right? Where you come right back up into that level again, and it gives you a little bit of a pullback. So it comes into all-time highs again of 185, right? Now we're pulling back into the 50 period moving average. Here we pulled into it and didn't hold. We broke it, and then it became a downside trend. So right here, you're taking out the highs, and you're coming back into the 50. So the play here is either holds it, and you're laughing because it gets back up and you make your 15 bucks or whatever, or if it does continue to go back down in, maybe you get out on this 165 break or so, risk $5. It's kind of trading I'm doing on the show here, risk small to gain big. So I think that that's a good opportunity there for a stock like Valero again there. So that would be a space in the energy spot that I would be looking at. PayPal hitting a little bit right now. Let's see what's going on there as that's coming across the scanner. Yeah, so a nice move there as PayPal making it all back. They had a whoop, whoop, down move, up move, and then this. Now for PYPL, 6120. Again, another beat up name that needs to find its footing. They got that deal with Uber, with Google, and I didn't really see too much traction on that. Slip of the mind, Uber. Yesterday, monster day for them as they get that AV ride with Nebius and down today. So yeah, the market's not super healthy in the Nasdaq space, and I think a lot of that obviously has to do with the one short that we should have been on early, and that was Apple. So I'm just going to wait for VWAP to short this thing in around 282, 280, 250 or so for that. And then the runners earlier this morning, what were they?
IMS.
And
oh, you mean the small caps?
Well, we had iRobot was going. I know
KALA, Kala.
iRobot to flat stock for us, I think, today. Oh, KALA. Oh, and the other one was...
How was that stock again?
No, not USAR, not UiPath. Oh, I do have some UiPath in the account, by the way.
It was the one that Luis was talking about.
I know, and I called it up and looked. Oh, I have it on right here.
PLRZ.
What the hell am I doing? It's on my sheet.
Blurred.
Yeah, so let's have a quick look at that. I said maybe a 20 break could activate something. I'm not in it, and we didn't even get to 20. So yeah, I think we're okay with the levels that we wrote down on PLRZ. And funny that I forgot about that. I said $14 low we might want to look at. That happened right there. So that's why we wrote that. So we'll see if 14 can hold. So it doesn't look like we'll get that big spike through. But man, like we're just sitting here, Palantir's going, Google's going, and today's going to be another green day. So 1040, we'll look for some more trades. But so far, so good here, man. It's been a good day on the desk, and it's going to be a good day when we throw it back to Adara and figure out what news she's talking about.
Keep an eye on CRISPR Therapeutics, CRSP popping a little bit here. I'm seeing a note that this one could be the target for a takeover. Apparently, it's actually, according to this report, in an active and advanced M&A process. This is just from a website, though, that does kind of takeover speculation, so nothing confirmed. But either way, takeover speculation sending CRSP higher. Keep an eye on BP as well. I just saw this story. Financial Times reporting that the company's in talks to sell its $8 billion Castrol unit to Stone Peak, which is a U.S. group. So again, BP in Castrol unit sale talks and CRSP reportedly in some buyout talks. Back to you.
I'm going to be kicking myself over this. It was like a couple of months ago, and I was like, I need to figure out which one of these biogenomic plays is a good one. And there's too many of them out there, and I couldn't settle. But CRISPR, maybe they get a deal. You're going to need some more financing. Well, whatever. If you think about the whole like biogenomics, like that's been the next big thing since the Bill Clinton administration. Like I actually remember it back then as well. I'm a little bit older. We're all obviously, and it's like when they were as hot as like quantum computing like 30 or like 20 something years ago, and there's still nothing big happening. But I still think there's some good plays there. So good on CRISPR. Someone asked me what I was looking for target on Tesla. Well, first things first, we finally closed above VWAP, which is good. But sellers came in, I said 452. Sellers came in before that at about the high 70s. So I just jumped out there. I ended up not getting, like the trend break happens here at 449, but I didn't get in until 50. But the price that I have is irrelevant to where the action started. Like the idea is that the move is from here somewhere into 442. If we can close above VWAP, I can jump back in and add. The other thing to consider is this could pull under VWAP and hold back here at 49, and then the same long would be valid, and I can jump in and try to get a better price. So Tesla, it's broken the trend. Now I just want to see it continue to put in some higher lows that we can join back into. And thankfully, I'm going to show you the Nasdaq just got through VWAP. Now look at AMD. AMD back into almost yesterday's high. So there is a chance that we could get to that 219 to 220 area that I was thinking was a fade on AMD. So price-wise, I was waiting for up here. It was breaking down when the market looked weak, but you got to be able to get out. That ends up going like another $2 to set upside. Let's go to Adara. Time for a little sector watch.
Yeah, it's kind of a mixed sector board here, guys. There's a lot of strength in names like finance, producer manufacturing really strong, consumer durables mixed, but being led by strength here in Tesla. And then you also have Technology services, with the exception of Netflix and Google, generally a pretty good look. A lot of these sectors that are going to be really mixed or notably weak. Consumer services all over the place here. You've got McDonald's and Booking Holdings trying to push this higher, but the rest of the sector really red. Producer manufacturing, you've got strength in Caterpillar, Applied Materials, GEV, but LRCX dragging the sector down. So it's a lot of really mixed looks here. I do want to talk here about retail trade because that sector is getting hit really hard. As mentioned earlier, Costco to the downside after reporting November retail sales, despite actually reporting 8% year-over-year increase. Let's talk here about tech services we discussed, tech we discussed, but in general here, things are going to be a little bit mixed for a lot of these sectors. Again, really only like group-wide strength that I can really see is in finance and arguably utilities. Before we send you back to Sean and Neil, we're going to take a moment to thank our friends at Trade the Pool. For too long, trading meant risking your own money or never having enough to start. The fear of losing. That's what kept so many traders on the sidelines. But that is all changing. With Trade the Pool, it's transforming how traders access the market. With its limited risk trading model, traders use funded capital, while Trade the Pool absorbs the downside. This allows traders to focus on what truly matters: discipline, consistency, and growth. When you hit that profit target, you keep 70% of the profits. No fear, no barriers, just real opportunity. That's the revolution of limited risk trading powered by Trade the Pool. Visit tradethepool.com or scan the QR code to get 10% off your first evaluation. Back to Sean and Neil.
Yeah, to Trade the Pool. Thank you to Mitch for always coming on. What was he?
We are just.
Top of mind, there was a symbol that he was mentioning. I was trying to remember.
He mentions a lot of symbols.
That's the sort of the thing.
And we're just going to mention the same two all day. We have two trades, man. We'll review our trades near the end here. But yeah, Palantir just up $2 and still going. I'm going to take another piece out there at 177, but then it pops to 177.20, and we realize again that was another spot that could have some kind of supply situation. But I don't, these stocks are just moving around as they do. And then same thing there with Google grabbing that out. But yeah, let's have a quick look at Costco as we've identified that a little bit here as weakness and breaking back down now below that $200 mark, $900 mark. $200 for Costco would be disastrous. This is what it looks like on the daily. We've broken below it and held. So I think that's what we're waiting for right now on Costco, is to see about that bottom. But look at this 50-period moving average, which was once darling of the retail sector. Right now, people are not agreeing with whatever Costco is throwing down. And there it comes into the downside right now for Costco. We still go there and obviously spend just as much money now as we always have. But we'll see on their holiday sales. I mean, they're not losing any memberships or anything like that. Costco is still fantastic for all your shopping needs, but not according to the market. And it's Walmart that looks like it's going to continue to win. I mean, they had their push yesterday through that 110, or maybe it was last week, and now 114. Any sort of weakness on Walmart, this is one of the names I was talking to Sia about last week, and breaking higher in Walmart could have been a trade to put on that you could hold for a minute. And there it goes, taking out those highs again is WMT. And then today we haven't looked at another thing. Like, I'm trying to put some more money to work, actually. Gold as well could be onto something here as we hold that 50-period moving average. So a couple different ideas. Disney was one that we're happy that we had sold some there at 118 or whatever it was, near those 120s. That was like a double top up here. Disney also getting to the downside as people, they had some great deals going through for Disney on the holiday season there, but I don't know. It's still very expensive to travel there. I think once you go once, you may not go twice. But that's always been the story with Disney, man. Even, like, people can complain all they want about ticket prices. They're high in the 80s, price adjusted. I don't know what that looks like, but everything's more expensive now. Like, you go to any sporting event, any concert, like, try to go to a concert for under $400. It's just everything.
All experiences.
Super. Yeah, exactly. So Disney, which is kind of strange, getting hit right now. So I'm going to stay away from this one. And then if anything, if you want to pick up something that's to do with content, I would much rather be in Netflix. So we'll have to wait to see what Netflix does as well. Down another 1.1% today, as a lot of these names keep getting hit. So I don't know, man. It's been a good time to trade some of these tech names, but the bull rally has been in many spots. Caterpillar's all the way back up to the upside, as well as that continues to motor. Right back to highs off of a dip buy into 550. Great trade there. We talked about Home Depot getting back off. Even a stock like Lululemon, and we've seen great, well, that's back to 183 today, but we've seen great movements in the retail space. And Joe's bet, I said it was looking even better now for AEO, but it's still up 1%. So a couple more minutes, and maybe this gets to 26. But like, look how off this name is. Like, it's just gone right there. ANF, AEO, a lot of these names, Urban Outfitters, some of these Five Below, TJX, some of these sort of off retailers there, like Macy's was going downside yesterday, but they continue to work it out, man. People want those like $50, $80 jeans, and they're going to get them. So there goes AEO, huge move to the upside. And also no discounts. Like, you go into the stores, you're paying pretty much full price for clothing as well.
Cutting costs aggressively and closing stores and consolidating, and people like that turnaround. They got punished yesterday because I guess it wasn't all good over there with Macy's yesterday. But AEO, yeah, that one's got a chance. I think what needs to happen for AEO is a bit of a consolidation, and then you can really start going. So I waited for the opportunity to get back into AMD. It doesn't look like it wants to go 19s or 20s, so you know how I'm going to roll. It just failed the high, wait for a trend break. It just closed underneath trend, give it to the prior bar, look to the volume weighted average price on AMD. The futures are kind of curling as well, but that could just be like more coincidence than anything else. But like, this one is more about the trend line breaking on AMD, and then looking for VWAP first, and then we'll see what it can do after that. You've got Nvidia, which is, oops, I moved Meta over here. Looked over and that was the wrong stock. You've got Nvidia, which at the same time just double tapped the top. So you have a double top here on Nvidia as it's breaking trend, and at the same time AMD makes a trend break as well. So I kind of like that symmetry. So we'll go back over to AMD. Was the only stock I was actually thinking short today. And it was weak early, bounces, but still a very much inside day for AMD. No break of the high, actually didn't even break, like, forget about the actual low. I think I might have said earlier yesterday's lows on AMD. What I should have said, to be more clear, is this higher low was the initial target. That's about 214. So if we lose VWAP, I'd stick with that as the target for myself. And yeah, I mean, Rich Tech actually still going here. RR. So it's going to continue to go. And as I was saying earlier, I believe, is to forget the member in the chat. Like I said, sometimes you're going to have an exit plan that's going to work, and sometimes not. Like that particular time, it didn't. And on iRobot, as I said, it was the right time to get out. Now, if we break highs on Rich Tech, then it doesn't make sense to me that there aren't other names that could go. So iRobot's not, but Serve, on the other hand, load is. So you do have some actual divergence happening. If both these continue to trend, I would expect iRobot would have a little bit better of a day, but sometimes you just got to look to what the names are that are doing better. So if you're looking for an alternative, it's not just Rich Tech that's going. Serve up 7%, and they had a good day yesterday too. Just maybe not as good as some of the others. So shout out to everyone in the chat that was mentioning that. So only new position for me is going to be AMD. VWAP is first target, and we'll see if it breaks. If it breaks that, I'm probably still looking at the same low as before.
Nice, good look there, obviously, on AMD, and we'll wait to see. Hopefully, we can have some luck with that position. All right, Uber. Just seeing here now that Uber is making a move back up to the 200 period moving average now. So that was a nice get up there for Uber from 89 up $1 straight into that 200 period moving average. So, you know, almost thinking about a short now underneath VWAP. We only have 10 minutes left in our show. Then we go over to the midday madness, and that should be a lot of fun as well. But there goes NQ, now starting to get a little bit lower. So we take that opportunity, honestly, man, to get out of Google, to get out of Palantir, and now we have less than 5% of both of these trades. So that's what we've been doing right here so far today. Only 2 banger trades, and they're bangers. You know, this was a big move, 175 up to, our best fill is 177.50. That came real quick, man. Wish we would have emptied all the bags out right there, but then we got another blessing, I guess, up to 177 again, and then again. So we've done real well and to hold this, but again, real light on this. We'll probably just flatten it out before we go to the gym. And then Palantir, same type of thing again, where we got that dip buy right into our levels. The only mistrade that I have today is SMR, but I'm glad my boy got it over there, and we're really happy that he's going to be having hopefully a good day. And You're going to see Joe talking all about that very, very soon. It does look like IBIT right now is trying to battle off of some of those lows. We saw it at 91 and change, now back up trying to break 93. It looks like we might have just done that, but then faded back out again. So as IBIT continues to go, we can take a look at ETHA as well today as Ethereum. I think I'm going to sell some Ethereum the next time it goes there back up to the upside. So, all right, that's it, man. We will continue to play this game here today. We want to thank everybody for their patience as the boys behind us are drilling away, man. They're looking for some oil underneath these desks. So if we do find any, we will, of course, let you know. So you'll just see it starting to gush everywhere. It'll go all over the guys on the midday show. There'll be a spout of oil here as we look to find it. So, all right, Adara, it's Money Talks, and then we'll review how our day's been.
Let's talk about this U.S. dollar because it actually has been in quite the slump on the daily chart here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and now 5 straight days of weakness, and we cleared through, or I guess blew past rather, that support we formed in mid-November. So weakness in the U.S. dollar does continue. We had some economic data today, mostly, as mentioned earlier, in line with estimates. But I want to talk about tomorrow because tomorrow at 10 a.m. we get a slew of economic data, all of it really important, so I'm going to go over that for you guys. We're going to get University of Michigan consumer sentiment. That'll be the last print of this for the month of November, I believe. Or sorry, this prelim, so it'll be for the first print for the month of December. 52 is the forecast, previous was 51, so we are expecting an uptick in consumer sentiment. PCE price index is going to be pretty interesting too. This is going to be, of course, a delayed number because we are still, getting this economic data. 2.8% is the forecast. 2.7% was the previous print. So we're expecting a slight uptick here in PCE price index. We know that this is the Fed's preferred inflation gauge. It's often referred to as that, so keep an eye on that PCE data. Let's also talk here about the CME Fed Watch tool because this has been super stable. We still have about 87% chance here of a 25 basis point rate cut. Let's see if that comes to fruition because it seems like that's really what we are pricing in as of now. Back to Sean and Neil, and do make sure to like and subscribe.
Thank you very much, Adara. And I saw a couple of things. Random oddities. How long for the construction? It's an ongoing process. Like you can't really put like a hard timeline on it, but it didn't take them very long to get the desk up. And there's like a swing around addition. I don't know how to describe what the other side of the desk is going to be happening here, but I don't think it'll take that part very long. But then there's still going to be other things that you might see happening that'll be in here.
I mean, as soon as that oil starts gushing, but. Yeah, no, these guys are working.
No, there's a lot.
Very, very hard in behind us. But let's go figure out. I mean, these guys work so hard that we're going to have to figure out what's for lunch. I mean, we got to get some energy going back so we can continue to do that. Today is Thursday, of course, and today was actually pretty good. You saw Neil pounding back that bacon this morning, so that was really good. We really like having the bacon today for breakfast. It was bacon, hash browns, hard-boiled eggs. How's it going, Randy? Randy's in a sweater, so you know it's cold out. This guy's finally in a sweater. All right, today has been a net positive day, obviously, for myself here trading as we only have 2 trades. But what's for lunch is going to put a little frown on my face here today because it's been a minute. But it is Cajun seasoned, what, Sharif? Tilapia. So we have Cajun seasoned tilapia today with roasted sweet potatoes, steamed bok choy, and chef's salad. But, it's been a good day. So, all right, we'll hold out on that. We should not complain too much.
Here's the way my attitude's going to be like this. Since we started getting tilapia,
right,
we've had tilapia at least multiple times a month.
Yeah.
And I don't think, it's been good. I haven't had a red month since we've had tilapia. But we keep having tilapia over and over again. And the problem with it is the theory is I think they got a bunch and froze it. So as time goes on, it just seems to me like you're getting, they have to season it twice as much to make it taste a little bit better. That's all I'm getting at. They got a huge shipment of it in, and it's not going to be particularly fresh. So the last time it was spicy seasoning, so it wasn't that bad. But they keep having to do more and more of that. That's all I'm going to say. So I'll leave it at that. Maybe it is a new shipment, Roadrunner. Maybe. I was happy with the lunch yesterday. I said the Strogie was actually not bad the other day. And then the last couple of days have been pretty solid. We had that Thai. It was Thai yesterday. Thai chicken was really good yesterday. Came on in the midday and told you guys that during the lesson of the day. And then the stroganoff was actually the better beef stroganoff 2 days ago. So I was pretty happy with it. Just do not like the tilapia.
Yeah, man. And maybe they know that, Neil. No red months since we started tilapia. So congratulations.
Well, that's a cheat. I haven't had a red month since that crazy pre-market thing.
Yeah. No, for sure, man. I don't know if anybody around here is having red months, but we can definitely review it. And look, it's all about being honest, right? I mean, we're going to be honest with you guys. And actually, let's just do our trade review then as we talk about that, right? So here today, I'll be green today. Palantir, huge move. We only have 2 trades. We just bought the dips, and they were both done real early. And that's basically it. There's my Google and there's my Palantir, both big trades. I keep on clicking on Google and it's not going. There it is. So both look very, very similar trading for me today. So just pretty simple stuff. The only mistrade that we had today, we're going to run out of time since we'll be quick on this one, was SMR. So, you know, really happy with it. Joe's going to talk about it, but we did write down 1950 to $220, and it was a momentum play. So that's kind of like, we talk about missing trades and ideas, but, you know, we did have this idea, was written down, so I'm still feeling pretty good about it. You know, it's like when you're looking at, I always use the analogy to gambling, but it's like, oh man, like I knew this team would win, but you didn't bet on it. So at the end of the day, you know, you had the right feels with it, but SMR should have been the trade that I took. And then the other one that I was looking at was Tesla down here at 444, and we just got to 445 twice. So should have been a little bit more maybe of a stickler on that or less of a stickler, and maybe bought that last dip buy into there. So, you know, I think we'll do that if we come back and we do have an opportunity to get some Tesla in the account. So, you know, that's how my day's been going, and it's been pretty simple. I know you've traded many more symbols than I have. So how's your morning been?
Pretty flat. It's one of those, like there's nothing, like Apple, took a small shot on Apple. Like for Apple, it's a really tight stop. But remember I actually thought we didn't have a chance to get down here, to be honest with you. So I was like, oh, well, I like 75. But we have 2 minutes. I don't have to rush anything. Where'd my trend line go? Anyways, draw a trend line from here. It gets you to about 75 for support on Apple. But then I looked at the 15 and said, if we get to this low, or maybe even test this support in here about 79.5 to 80, those could be bounce spots. So I took one shot on Apple, didn't really fight it much. Sure I can, Andre. Hopefully that works, and that'll make it a little bit better for everybody. And iRobot, took one shot on iRobot. That was a trend break here at 3. Goes to about 325, so I had 303 as my average price, just to let you guys know. And then our best out was about 22s. And then we got out at break even. It's now starting to go again, so that one ends up being good. But again, no big follow through. Like I wanted it to press into the 350 area. That actually hasn't happened yet. And then a similar thing with Rich Tech. Although with Rich Tech, remember I was saying Rich Tech was a stronger trend? I was holding on to more of Rich Tech, so that in this case, like I still had 2/3. Now, oftentimes I might scalp and only have like a third left when it breaks this high. So what did you just do? Oh, sorry. My screens just all went out for a second. Okay, they're back now. You guys probably didn't see that, but all my screens went black. So in this particular case, I'm actually flat on the stock instead of up. So again, like I said, mostly a flat day. Tesla, flat. Keystroke, but actually didn't make or lose any money there. Took the buck in the way up. Lost the buck when it lost the 450 level, so a flat day there. And then AMD is starting to break out VWAP. I actually just saw a buyer at 17s, so took some out there. If we break VWAP, hold to 16. If we bounce VWAP, get out. So that one to be determined, and we'll get to that Warner Brothers news in a quick little second. But the last thing I wanted to say was I've actually mentioned this before, and I won't wait till the lesson of the day to put this one out there. Some of the best days that a trader can have is when, you know, if you don't have a lot of things that like have huge follow through, like maybe you get stopped out early, whatever it might be. It's like, well, nothing was perfect. And you come away with a flat day or like a very small up day or a very small down day. Consistent traders, in my time, because I look at a lot of settlements, consistent traders have a lot of days which are like inside. It's like, I didn't really have anything going or a lot of things going that followed through big, but they still managed to, you know, like not get smoked, and you know, not forcing trades, like that kind of a thing. So when you look back at your month, you want to have a few of those types of days in there. And oh shoot, thank you, Brian Thompson. I was about to read whatever story that was. Oh, whatever. It's Warner Brothers news is news when they actually have a deal, everybody. I'm starting to get a little frustrated by all these no deal stories on Warner Brothers. But if we could put that question back up, I think it was. Oh, that was too fast.
It was a news story.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
All right, they'll have it on the midday show, but there it is, the third round of bids coming from Paramount, Skydance, Netflix, and Comcast. So hopefully Warner Brothers does catch another bid underneath it. All right, man, you know, a flat day's not a red day, and as Neil said, man, take advantage of those big days when you do see them. So
well, that's the thing, like they just have to outweigh. Yeah, like whatever.
I mean, as you said, like no red months, right? I mean, that's what it's about, man. Make that profit.
Well, one of the things I look at, just when we're going to go there in a quick little second, is when you're reviewing your month, also have a look at, well, what is your biggest day in that month? Or maybe take your biggest 3 or 4 and average those out.
Yeah.
And then look at your biggest 3 or 4 losing days and average those out. And if the winners are bigger than losers, then you're going to be good. But a lot of times, traders don't take that time to do that. So let's go over to the midday. We got Sharif.